across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello and a good evening to you. It is Petrie here with you. I'm with you through until 1 o'clock, and coming up at midnight, of course, it is your chance to talk back. And there really is only one conversation in town, isn't there? And that is Keir Starmer. And should he go? Should he go now? Should he go later? It appears to me that a lot of the conversations are set out a timetable to leave. In other words, I don't think they're quite ready yet to have him step down. So it is an interesting one, but I just wonder if you, when you voted last Wednesday, what did you vote for? Is this what you voted for? You wanted change, clearly. That's what that election tells all of us. But I was confused because a lot of people were voting out, Labour or Tory councillors. And I was thinking, well, surely it wasn't a general election, but it felt like, and I said this last week, it felt like this was a moment to give Keir Starmer a clear message. So what did you vote for when you voted last Wednesday? Is this what you voted for? Do you want Keir Starmer gone? Do you want, and who do you want to replace him? I mean, that's the other thing. I don't even think that Labour know. I mean, Wes Streeting is to the right of the party, and I think they want to swing more to the left. Angela Rayner is on the left, but she's not as popular with her colleagues as she would quite need to be. She also hasn't sorted out her tax issues. And there's a little bit of a stain on her. So, not likely to be her. The only other person is Andy Burnham, and he's not even an MP. So that's why I think they're asking for this timetable for change, the timetable for him to be gone. So we'll have to wait and see. We're going to keep across the story, of course. I'll be looking at all the screens above me to see if there's any breaking. But should he stay or should he go now? Great song. Should he go now? Do you want him to go now? And what change is that going to bring to Labour as well? I'm a little bit confused by that. I think that your votes last week were against Labour, not only against Keir Starmer. Anyway, the Deputy PM, David Lammy, has now urged Starmer to set out this timetable to quit. And 4 cabinet ministers are in number 10 as we speak, as the pressure mounts on the PM to resign. So we'll keep, like I said, we'll keep across it all the way through the programme. We've got Claire Muldoon going through the papers. I think it's fairly obvious what will be on the front pages of every single newspaper as we go forward this evening. The phone in as well, we'll keep across it. I do think it'll be slowing down now. I don't imagine there'll be any huge, but who knows anymore, any huge announcements between now and tomorrow morning. They're thinking really that 6 o'clock tomorrow morning is resignation watch. That's what I've seen. From 6 a.m. tomorrow morning will be resignation watch. So that is the phone in. So do give me a call. 0344 499 1000. Those calls are charged at national rate, but we do call you back. And text the word talk and your message, please, to 87222. What did you vote for when you voted last Wednesday, and is this what you want? Keir Starmer gone, and who do you want to replace him? So that's coming up at midnight. As I said, we've got Claire Muldoon with us to go through the newspapers. We're also going to take a little break from politics and from this kind of politics and look at showbiz politics when we recap on the BAFTAs. Also, we're going to be taking a look at the hantavirus now that that ship has docked. In fact, it's getting set to leave the Canary Islands now and head to the Netherlands. So we'll be catching up with that with a virologist, just explaining to us that this isn't COVID. but that people are really worried about any spread. So we're going to be looking at that as well. But as we kick off the programme this evening, so we shall continue, Prime Minister Keir Starmer continues to fight for his political survival after last week's disastrous set of local elections. In a defiant make or break speech today, Starmer admitted his early messaging was too gloomy, but vowed to prove doubters wrong. I thought that speech this morning was woeful. I have to be perfectly honest with you. He promised a radical policy pivot, the nationalisation of British Steel, which has been knocking around for ages and is due to be in the King's speech on Wednesday, and a new EU youth mobility scheme, insisting he will not resign or plunge the country into chaos despite mounting internal pressure. But the choice, it appears, is no longer his. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Jennifer Nadell, who is an author, political commentator and co-founder of Compassion in Politics. Jennifer, I rewatched our last interview earlier on today, where I asked you if you thought that the PM would survive the Mandelson outcry, and you asked me what I thought. I don't know if you remember that.
I do, yes.
This is quite extraordinary, though, isn't it? But it was coming.
It really has been coming, and at Compassion in Politics, we have been warning the government repeatedly that simply delivering austerity light and doom and gloom is not going to work. And we've warned that what will happen is that there'll be a swing to the far right. That is exactly what happened at the local elections. So none of this is a surprise. It was all foreseeable. But Starmer has been hermetically sealed away from those in his party who could give him really good advice and tell him what it is voters want. In fact, many of his backbenchers want it. They want a Labour Party that is standing by Labour values. And instead, we've seen this shimmying over to the right to try and catch the reform vote. Whereas anyone who wants to vote for reform is going to vote for reform, not a Labour Party pretending to be reform. So that policy was never going to win. And the consequence is the electoral drubbing we saw last week, and now Starmer's future hanging in the balance.
I mean, it's an interesting one, though, isn't it? Because a lot of people in the Labour government are, of course, using Keir Starmer as their lightning rod. But I think the vote last week was more than just about Keir Starmer. It was about Labour as a government. People are fed up to the back teeth of it, the higher taxes, the things not happening quickly enough. People on benefits seem to be doing rather better than people who are working for a living. All of those things. So they are, in my view, skirting the issue by saying, right, when Starmer goes, everything will be all right.
I don't know, because the Prime Minister under our system has so much power, and he has really used that power to silence critics, to move anyone who criticises him out of government. And I think there is a huge groundswell of opinion, especially amongst those new MPs who were elected on that incredible landslide he achieved, who really want policies that are much more radical and really tackle the cost of living crisis, which is affecting so many people across this country. So I think the party is more radical than its leadership. I think the party wants something bold. They were elected on a ticket of change. They have not delivered change. And many backbenchers, many MPs, along with many voters, want to see something new, something different, not just doom and gloom, not just trying to take money from Peter to pay Paul, stopping the winter fuel allowance to some pensioners, trying to restrict disability benefits. That's what we had under austerity. They elected Labour because they wanted to see a compassionate, caring government that really tried to shift the living circumstances of the majority of this country. And Starmer has failed to deliver on that.
The interesting thing, therefore, is who they choose to be their next leader, because if it's Wes Streeting, he's to the right of the Labour Party. Angela Rayner, of course, clearly very left of the party, but not that popular within the voting body. And also has her tax affairs still yet to be settled. So we're left really with Andy Burnham, who's not even an MP. So, if they want him because he's left of the party, he's known, the people on the doorstep seem to have heard of him, that's important, then the timetable for this to happen has got to be rather longer than some people might want.
Well, I think that's why Catherine West, the Labour MP who said she was going to force a leadership challenge if she wasn't pleased with what Starmer said today, has changed her tone and asked for an orderly exit by September, because that allows Andy Burnham to be selected for a seat and to run for Parliament. He was, of course, in Parliament before he became Mayor of Manchester. He was a very good, solid MP, well-liked, and he's done an incredible job in Manchester. And he really has some of those things that Starmer lacks. He has the ability to communicate. He has the ability to sound, and I think be authentic, to really sound as if what he's saying is what he actually believes. And with Starmer, we've seen this kind of calculated, almost technocrat style of speaking and of leadership that just hasn't had any emotional resonance. And Andy Burnham knows how to speak from the heart, and he knows how to make things happen. He's got vision, and that's what we need.
And I saw the speech this morning by Keir Starmer, and really I thought, if this is your fight back speech, this is woeful. I mean, it was embarrassing, actually.
I completely agree with you. I've written about it already today, and I've described it as reheated cabbage. I mean, cabbage is pretty difficult the first time round, but try eating it when it's been reheated. There was nothing new in this. No. He had an EU summit almost just over a year ago, in which he laid out the same policies he laid out today. If he really meant it, then he should have talked about joining the customs union or the single market, or done something bold. We've known that the nationalisation of steel is in the offing after what happened in Scunthorpe, so that wasn't new. And Jobs for Youth has already been announced. There was nothing new. And that really, I think, is why so many MPs are now saying that it's time for him to go, because even when he was backwards against the wall, he still couldn't deliver. He also didn't say sorry. He didn't say, I'm really sorry to all of you who have lost your jobs. Some incredible local councillors who devoted their life to public service lost their jobs, not because they weren't doing well, but because of the party leadership. Look at what happened in Wales. The Labour government in Wales, gone. First time in history that Labour is not ruled in Wales. And that's all, I think, down to the choices that Starmer has made. I mean, where it's different, I think, from the leadership changes that we saw under the last government, is that Starmer is a decent, honest man. No one's accusing him of having partied during a pandemic or lied to Parliament. All we're accusing him of is just not really having the vision and the authenticity to lead a country at this very difficult moment. And of course, it's not just difficult in this country, it's a time of global turmoil. The far right is on the rise, and unless you can counter the drumbeat of fascism, you are not going to succeed. And the Labour Party isn't stupid. It realises that if it wants to survive and not go the same way as the Welsh Party in Wales, it needs to do something dramatic.
So now is the time. I mean, this is it's the timings, isn't it, that they've got to get absolutely right.
It's complicated, isn't it?
It's really complicated, because if they do wait until September to allow Burnham to stand and be voted in as the leader, then a lot of things can happen between now and September globally. There's major issues around the world and with the economy, and you're going to have a new PM picking up just before a budget, which is likely to be catastrophic as well. And so that new leader is going to, with the debt rising in this country and all of the issues that are going on with the cost of living crisis, it's almost a case of, well, who would want to pick up that job at that particular time? It's not going to be easy, is it? And if they try to have a leadership contest now, there are issues with that as well.
Absolutely. I don't think now is the right moment to have it because I don't think there is a clear candidate. I think Andy Burnham is the only candidate who could unite the party and really make his mark on the country. So I think it would be disastrous and very chaotic and bad for the country if we saw a kind of scrap between Angela Rayner and Wes Streeting, and people are even saying Ed Miliband, even though he wasn't successful when he led the party before. So now is not the moment. And I think there is one thing that few people criticize Starmer for, and that's his global leadership. You know, he has managed to lead like a statesman abroad. He just hasn't managed to translate that back at home. So in terms of world events, I think he can hold the ship steady, and certainly he has done so up until now. But you're right, in terms of the economy and those decisions, he's really going to have to keep things ticking over. We do, of course, have the long parliamentary recess over the summer and things tend to quieten down. But it is still a long time to wait. You're right.
We're just seeing images there of Gordon Brown.
Yes, I was just going to mention Gordon Brown.
I'm fascinated by this move to bring in some of the old giants.
Well, do you know what? I wish they'd done this ages ago because
I agree.
Brown knows how to manage a crisis.
Yeah.
You know, whatever flaws he has, he did an extraordinary job in 2008, and he's also someone who cares so deeply and so passionately. No one can accuse him of being disconnected from his emotions. He knows how to run an economy in a very, very difficult time. So yes, he's not new, and they've received a lot of flack for not bringing a new person in, but sometimes I think there's a really strong argument for a very experienced, steady hand on the rudder when you're going through stormy waters.
And that's what Keir Starmer's always needed. Talking to people, they've said, look, he came into politics late. Because he hasn't been around for a long time, he didn't build up the foundations of his support. He didn't build up enough people that would stand by him or set him straight, or, as you were saying earlier on, you know, take him out of that hermetically sealed bubble and said, listen, you're doing this wrong. Whereas some of those old giants, the old behemoths of politics, who've had a lifetime in politics, did manage to build up that support, if you like, that resilience, those foundations, which Keir Starmer has never done. And it shows him now to be completely weakened with nobody underneath to catch him.
I think that's right, but I think that's also his style of leadership. He's very controlled. The way he turned the Labour Party around so that it was electable was by really having a tight grip on party structures. And that is not the best form of leadership because it's rigid, it's fear-based, it's often paranoid. The other thing he didn't do, which of course Gordon Brown and Tony Blair did do, was he didn't have a set of policies ready for the moment he took office. I mean, for goodness sake, it's been 14 years Labour were waiting for this moment, and they didn't arrive with a thick program for what they were going to do. Now they had this incredible landslide, so they frittered it away. And one thing Brown does know about is how to make things happen in government, as he and Blair did. So I hope that his presence may help during this period of transition, if that is indeed what we're going to have. But I don't think it's just that Starmer hasn't built support across the party. I think he has rejected those who've offered support. He has not listened to those who've tried to get his ear. If you talk to backbenchers in the Commons, many of them haven't seen him personally over a very long period of time. He doesn't want input. He just wants people to do what he thinks they should do. And that isn't a modern way of leading.
What do you think the next 24 hours will bring if you had your crystal ball? I mean, it seems almost untenable that he has to signify that he will leave in a timely manner.
Yes, I mean, it kind of was hanging in the balance a little bit after the speech. Like you, I didn't think the speech began to address the huge broken trust that existed. It didn't touch the sides of it. But now that we've seen members of the government resigning, we've seen parliamentary secretaries standing down, and we've got over 70 members of parliament calling for him to go. He's meeting with the cabinet now, and it's rumoured that the Home Secretary is going to be amongst those who tell him that the game's over. And, you know, in that speech that we both watched, Starmer said we can't have a leadership election because of the chaos it will cause. Well, now he's got a chance to reduce the amount of chaos by going quietly and creating a space where we can have an orderly transition. If he hangs on to power, it's going to get very ugly and very chaotic. So he's got to put the interests of his government, his party, and his country first, read the writing on the wall, and arrange to leave office in a dignified and graceful and generous way.
Yeah, that is indeed what Yvette Cooper is now calling for, that there's a smooth transition, which, because they're not ready right now, they're going to have to give him, you know, that process, aren't they? They're going to have to ask him to give them.
They're going to have to, but you know, in other countries that often happens. If we look at America, you know, the president gets elected in November, but they don't take office till January. So it is possible to carry on governing, even though you know you're going to leave, and to try not to scorch the earth that you were leaving for your successor, especially not when they're in the same party. So I don't think it's the end of the world to have this period, and maybe it gives time for someone to take office with a really serious plan about how to turn this ship around.
How will this be viewed globally? Because we are no longer just this little island when it comes to what's going on in the world now with NATO and with, you know, there'll be lots of people watching very closely to see who is going to be taking Keir Starmer's position. And is this an embarrassment for Britain?
I think it's not a great look, particularly given how many prime ministers we got through under the last government. So it's not a great look for us. But that isn't a reason not to do it. I think there may be surprise because how Starmer is viewed on the world stage is very different from how he's viewed domestically. But I think they will also reason, you know, parallels will be drawn between him and Biden. You know, the person who just didn't get what was really needed to see off the threat from the far right. And people will be really hoping that whoever comes in has that magic formula that can see off that threat and create a government that's really for everyone in this country, that doesn't trade on division, hatred and othering, but actually has the best interests of everyone at its core.
So the early days of Tony Blair repeated.
Yes, Tony Blair, there have been other moments. There have been other moments. You know, I think that this country has a real history of doing extraordinary things, like the founding of the National Health Service. You know, what an extraordinary thing to do out of the rubble of the Second World War. I think we're good in a crisis, but I think it only really works when we govern for everyone. It doesn't work when we set people against each other. It doesn't work when we try and scapegoat certain groups. It doesn't work when we turn our backs on those who are in the most vulnerable circumstances and blame them for the misfortune they've suffered rather than offering them a hand up. So what we really need is the return of values to the political space: compassion right at the core, respect, dignity, equality, caring, the sort of values that most of us live with in the home and yet seem to have been stripped out of the political space, need to be put back. And then we will have a much more healthier infrastructure. And we need less division between the parties. We need the best ideas, whoever's come up with them, to be adopted.
I completely agree with that. Jennifer, it's wonderful to speak to you again. Thank you very much indeed. Jennifer Niddell there, who is an author, political commentator and co-founder of Compassion in Politics. Quick break, back in a sec.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, this is Talk, and it is Petrie here with you until 1 o'clock. And of course, midnight, it's your chance to talk back. And nothing says a Prime Minister is about to resign than a Prime Minister that says he's not about to resign. Is that? I mean, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. That speech this morning, he was wetter than a haddock's bathing costume. I mean, seriously, and he was... That really annoyed me with the sleeves rolled up. It's just like, you're taking us for mugs, mate. But the interesting thing is, what next? And is this what you wanted? That's the important question, because we saw the votes, we saw the elections last week. And I just wonder, when you cast your vote, what it was that you wanted. Did you want to give Labour a bloody nose? Did you want to give Keir Starmer a bloody nose? Did you want to show that you were dissatisfied with the way the country is at the moment? Did you actually want reform councillors? Did you want Green councillors? What is it you wanted? And does this look like what you wanted? That Keir Starmer, it looks like, I genuinely cannot see him holding on through tomorrow. If he survives tomorrow, then he'll potentially survive a couple more months before there is some other challenge. But I can't see that he's going to survive through tomorrow. We're on resignation watch apparently from 6 a.m. And people are expecting him to set a timetable for leaving. It won't be immediate. I think he'll do a smooth and orderly transition and allow the Labour Party to get Andy Burnham in a position where he can be voted as leader of the Labour Party, and therefore he will become Prime Minister. I don't think that we're streeting. He's too much to the right. I don't think that Angela Rayner, she's just not got that popular appeal. I can't see either of them. I certainly don't see Ed Miliband. So who else is there? There really is only Andy Burnham, and I think that's why they want a timetable. We keep hearing this timetable for Keir Starmer to leave, and that's why, because they are not ready. And if he's got an ounce of anything about him, he will give them that. He will allow them to do that, rather than just throwing his teddy out of the pram. So that's the phone in at midnight. I'd love to hear from you as to what it was you voted for, and is this it? Is this what you wanted? Rid of Starmer, just gone? Or was it more about the Labour government that you were unhappy with? So I'd be interested to see that, because my personal belief is that it was about the Labour government rather than just Keir Starmer, but I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. So listen, give me a call. Let me know what you think about all of this. Are we ready for a leader? There is a lot of chaos going on in the world at the moment. Could this just add to it? Do you think he should stay in place, perhaps, until the world is a bit calmer? I don't know. You tell me. 0344 499 1000 and message me, text the word talk and your message to 87222.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello there, this is Talk, and it is Petrie here with you until 1 o'clock. Well, the other big story in the world today is that the health authorities are still working hard to contain a rare hantavirus outbreak after the cruise ship MV Hondius was docked in the Canary Islands. It's departed from the Canary Islands now, heading to the Netherlands. It left about an hour and a half ago. There are now 9 confirmed cases and 3 people have died of the Andes strain. Now, the Andes strain is the strain that passes between human beings. Repatriation of passengers is underway, with British, Americans and French passengers now facing a mandatory 6-week quarantine. The French government confirmed this afternoon that a woman evacuated from the MV Hondius with no initial symptoms is now in a serious condition with hantavirus. That's how quickly the incubation period is quite long, hence the 6 weeks of mandatory isolation. But once the symptoms come, they come thick and fast. And as we know with COVID, it had a 1% mortality rate. This version of the hantavirus has a 40% mortality rate. The World Health Organization, though, is saying that the risk to the general public remains low. Well, joining me now is Dr. Simon Clark, a virology expert and microbiologist at Reading University. Good to speak to you again. Thank you for joining me. A lot of people are scared about this. I was told earlier on this evening that people in France are going and shopping and buying masks and things like that. How worried should we be at this stage?
Not very, in fact, not worried at all. I think this is something that, while it can transmit from person to person, it's actually quite difficult and relatively infrequent compared to something like COVID, as you just cited. It appears that you have to be in quite close confines with somebody for a reasonable amount of time, passing almost glancing interactions with people probably aren't going to be enough, which is, let's face it, all that most of us do with complete strangers. And that is enough for coughs, colds, flus, COVID, anything like that to transmit. But I don't think it will be enough for this to transmit. I mean, remember, it is quite unusual for hantaviruses to spread from person to person.
There was a case, wasn't there, on an aircraft that one person was there who was low symptomatic, but then somebody else did catch it. That's the kind of close proximity you're talking about for a decent amount of time.
I imagine so, yes. I think that person that got on the plane left the scene, if you like, before people realised exactly what was going on. And that's why that spread happened. So it can happen, and it's quite right that the authorities are taking people off that ship and putting them into quarantine conditions, and doing so with sort of full hazmat suits when they're moved around the place, and in order to contain things.
A lot of people would be thinking, though, the perfect place for everybody to isolate for, until the 6 weeks were up was on that ship.
Yeah, it would have been. But when they get ill, the medical facilities on there wouldn't have been good enough. And in fact, I think you would have been condemning most, if not everybody on that ship to their death.
So it would have spread, you think, between those people in that proximity?
It would have spread to most, if not everybody on that ship. And if we assume a 40% fatality rate, well, yeah, that's what we would be looking at.
It seems, though, that the World Health Organization, and in America the CDC, they are talking about isolation, but we are asking people to self-isolate. There's, in some cases, people are being put into facilities and kept there for 6 weeks. We're not doing that. Are we taking a risk with that?
That is a bit of a risk if indeed that's what's, if people are free to move about the place and come and go as they please, then yeah, there is risk associated with that. I can't remember the law on containing people who might have an infectious disease. You've caught me out there this evening. So maybe there's a legal aspect to that.
Because I mean, they're saying that that all the Brits will they're spending 72 hours. So as of Wednesday, they will be out of a containment in up north at the Arrow Park Hospital, and asked to go home and isolate. If I was the person at home, I'm not sure I'd be very happy about having my relative come home and isolate in my house. You know, there seems to me to be a kind of, I don't know whether they're taking it seriously enough. I mean, we're only, look, we know it's not like COVID, but we all remember COVID. And we've all still got PTSD from COVID. And I think a lot of people are thinking, well, if there is this lax attitude and people are just going to go home, are we all safe?
Well, I guess we don't know people's personal circumstances. It may be the case that people either have travelled and live on their own, or travelled as couples and live as couples, so they're going to be self-isolating on that basis as well. It's not necessarily a given that they're going home to other people in the house,
right,
who have not already been exposed to the virus.
But it's 6 weeks, and I was thinking about that, thinking, gosh, you know, if I was one of those people and I had to isolate for 6 weeks, and not work for 6 weeks and not get paid for 6 weeks, you know, we know how lax people were with COVID lockdowns. That's what concerns me, is maybe a bit of a laissez-faire attitude to something that, although it's difficult to transmit, it's not impossible. We've seen that already, and the case is now number 9. And we saw how quickly this thing got out of control with COVID.
Yeah, well, COVID just does transmit much more easily. I take your point about people being laissez-faire about their containment and their self-isolation. I guess we've just got to appeal to their better nature. Yeah.
That scares me immediately, I have to say, Simon. Relying on people's better nature. I mean, they are saying that they will be constantly updated, and we know that if you're not symptomatic, you cannot spread this, right? It's not like COVID again. COVID, even if you didn't have symptoms, you could spread this. This is what was the problem. But with hantavirus, it's only when you're symptomatic that you could spread this disease. And if you're symptomatic, you can become very ill very quickly. So again, you're unlikely to be out and about. Yeah,
there could be if you look at it on a slightly more pessimistic tone, there could be a shoulder to the symptoms, I guess, potentially. But I think that is possibly the saving grace here, that people are more likely to know that they're infectious because they'll have symptoms. And
what sort of symptoms are we talking about? Are they ones that any one of us could have as a cold, or but it does very quickly go downhill, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does go downhill very quickly. It is the more extreme, the worse end of flu, and I mean proper flu. Back pains, nausea, abdominal pains, feeling just generally very unwell. Now, of course, if these things happen to all of us. So just because somebody listening to this now gets those symptoms doesn't mean that they've got hantavirus. If they haven't been in contact with anybody who hasn't been on that ship, they're extremely unlikely, vanishingly unlikely to have a problem. It is probably just flu.
But the hantavirus isn't new, right? I mean, it's been around, and people tend to catch it from rat droppings and breathing in urine and things like that from rats. But there's no cures for it. Nobody's looked into.
Well, there is no cure for flu. There's no cure for lots of viral diseases. It's on the global scale of infectious diseases, it's just simply not that big a problem. There are much bigger challenges, and therefore that's where the research money goes. Really often with viral diseases, once somebody's got the symptoms, any treatment would only make a marginal difference. So that's why we tend not to have, another reason why we tend not to have treatments for these things.
So all in all, do you think that the right processes have been followed here as a virologist, or what would you like to have seen that may be slightly different?
As a microbiologist, I think that I don't really see what else could have been done. I don't think it was rational or reasonable to leave everybody on that ship. A plague ship, it would have been tagged. It's already been tagged as a rat virus ship by even some of the better newspapers. But I don't really see what else they could have done. And as long as people observe their self-isolation and have their groceries delivered to their front doorstep and stuff like that, then I think all in the end should be well. And of course, anybody who may have inadvertently flown that virus around the world or got on the ships or done whatever, then they could be traced and any contacts identified.
Yeah, I mean, that's happening now, isn't it? That they're doing the whole, the words that I hope to never hear again, track and trace, because none of us want to go back to that.
Certainly not.
But all in all, there's little for us to worry about, providing that these people do self-isolate and keep out of everybody's way for 6 weeks.
Yeah, providing they put their feet up for 6 weeks. We don't know their personal circumstances. Are they working? Are they retired? Are they are they able to claim sick leave? Stuff like that. Then as long as they observe that, I imagine most employers wouldn't want somebody potentially bringing it into the office.
No, I'm pretty sure. Let's hope not. Anyway, and the ship now heading to the Netherlands to be cleaned as well, and some of the deceased to be removed from the boat. Once it's all scrubbed out and cleaned, would you get on it?
Yep, I would have no problem with it at all. As long as it's, as you say, cleaned properly, which I'm quite sure the Dutch will do.
Oh, I'm absolutely certain that'd be the one country I would trust with that.
Me too.
Dr. Simon, thank you. It's been great talking to you again. Thank you very much indeed. Dr. Simon Clarke there, virology expert and microbiologist at Reading University. Quick break, and then we have a look at the BAFTAs.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello there, this is Talk, and I'm Petrie, and we are keeping an eye on the Starmageddon that is going on at the moment. There's nothing new to report so far. We weren't expecting there to be. There's just a lot of talking heads talking about what's happened already. But anything else that does happen, we will, of course, keep you abreast of that. But there's been a battle of a different kind and an award of a different kind, and that was Netflix. No, it was BAFTA. Netflix dominated, though, last night, the new sort of producer of programming now as we know it, with the drama Adolescence, which feels really old now. But anyway, the drama Adolescence, the host, Greg Davis, it was his first ever time at doing this, and everybody said he was just brilliant. I didn't watch it because I was asleep, but over a historic evening at London's Royal Festival Hall that saw Stephen Graham finally secure a leading actor win, and that was obviously for Adolescence, while his co-star, the 16-year-old Owen Cooper, became the youngest supporting actor winner in BAFTA's history. In the acting categories, Narges Rashidi took home leading actress for Prisoner 951, and the ceremony also featured a heartfelt tribute to Dame Mary Berry, who received the prestigious BAFTA Fellowship for her legendary career. She talked about her son, didn't she, that she lost, William.
And cakes,
and
obviously.
Yes,
lots of cakes.
Lots of cakes. Johnny Hearn is in the studio with me now, filmmaker, broadcaster and talk film reporter. So the BAFTAs, this is a big one. This is the end of the season, really, isn't it?
It is, and it's very late. You know, most of them are done by March time.
Yeah.
But yes, so this is it's seen as the last big award ceremony of the season, which seems to start in October.
Yeah,
it seems
really
to be most
does.
of the year now.
It really does.
Season, but yeah, so this was the last one. But like you say, Adolescence seems so old because it premiered over a year ago. It was March last year. This premiere.
I mean, it just feels, because it was such a big deal at the time as well. Everybody was talking about it, and I thought it was brilliant. In fact, I did decide I must rewatch it.
Yeah, I've seen it twice. It is absolutely stunning, and not just for the subject matter, but
the way
the
it was
technical
filmed,
style, the way that it was done, everything shot in a single take, and it genuinely was done in a single take, not like.
So they had to learn their scripts like a theatre script.
Well, they did. So there were 4 episodes. They had 3 weeks per episode, and they would rehearse the first 2 weeks, and then the final week was 5 days of filming it. So they filmed it 1 take in the morning, 1 take in the afternoon. They would do 10 takes or more if they had to stop and redo it. So yeah, I think the last episode they took 16 attempts to get it. The first episode they filmed, they got it in 2, so they must have all thought, oh, this is easy. This is brilliant. And then no, they ended up doing 10, 11, 12, but 16 for the last one. But yeah, so you rehearse it meticulously, not just the actors, you've got to be spot on, but the camera movements, and there's a lot of movement.
Upstairs movement as well.
In and out of vehicles, different buildings, technically it was very, very complicated. And the one in the school where they had hundreds of kids as extras as well, you've got to coordinate all of those. It's a logistical nightmare to try and do that, but when you pull it off, I mean, the buzz of doing that, and it does work, and it's one of the reasons why that series was so powerful, was because of that single take. Because when you have a single take of something like that that's very long, and each episode is about an hour long, actually psychologically it affects your brain, because your brain doesn't get a chance to pause and reflect. Even just cutting the camera for a microsecond, it gives your brain the chance to bank that. Okay, we've got that, we'll move on to the next bit. But your brain can't do that. So the longer it goes on, psychologically, you get kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, true.
And that's why it was really, really powerful.
Yeah, I think the most uncomfortable scene for me was the Adolescence with the social worker.
Yes.
With the sandwich. Yeah. That was all very.
Which is actually the first one they filmed.
Oh, was it?
And that was the first time this kid, Owen Cooper, had been on a film set. He'd done a bit of sort of youth theatre. First time he'd been on a film set. Thrown into doing that, and did it 10 times over the course of 5 days, and absolutely nailed it. I mean, the guy was incredible. Barely off screen for the whole of the hour, and with that kind of emotional intensity. I mean,
he would have been, what, 14 at the time?
He was 14 at the time, yeah.
And extraordinary, because he's such a sweet bloke, it appears, but his life is set now, right? I mean, he's going to go places because he is so grounded, and he did go back to school, and he wasn't one of those like Hollywood celebrity kids that just you know goes off on a tangent. He's got his GCSEs coming up now, so he does his BAFTA, and then he's doing his GCSEs this week.
And a Golden Globe,
and a Golden Globe.
He was the youngest ever person with a Golden Globe, you know.
And he does seem like a good kid, and he tells the story that the other kids used to laugh at him when he was in drama club because he was the only boy. So and now who's laughing, right? I mean,
but I think having a mentor like Stephen Graham would have absolutely grounded him as well.
I love Stephen Graham.
He's an absolute icon. He's a brilliant actor, and
they clearly had a very close relationship.
They did,
with believable.
And they had that from the very beginning. They auditioned 500 kids for this role.
Wow.
And the story is that when he walked out of the room, when Cooper walked out of the room, Stephen Graham just turned to the rest of them. He said, "That's the kid. That's the one." There was this instant kind of connection with the two of them.
I mean, and Stephen Graham has now won an award for that.
Yeah, he won for best actor for that. Yeah, and brilliant. And he was so powerful.
And they got 4 awards for adolescents.
Yeah, so there was best drama, which is the big one. Owen Cooper for best supporting actress. Christine, I can't ever pronounce her surname. I'm going to give it a go if I can see it. Where is it? Christine Tremarco, that's it. Tremarco, she won. She played the mother. She was best supporting actress, and Stephen Graham for best actor.
Stephen Graham really deserved that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really glad to see him picking up. Although he seems always so happy when Cooper gets the award. You know, he always seemed very, very happy with that. Who else won? Because it's all sort of television. There's quite a bit of this that I haven't seen, but some of the things that I have seen did win. And so I'm really happy with that. The Studio, which we both loved.
So the Studio won Best International.
And he was there, wasn't he?
Seth Rogen was there, yeah.
Looking very thin.
Very thin. Very funny. Very funny series. So it was up against The Bear, which is the big the Disney program, The Diplomat, Pluribus, which I really like, Severance, The White Lotus, some big shows there. But The Studio, for me, I think it was the funniest thing I saw last year. So if you haven't seen it, it's Seth Rogen plays a guy who becomes the head of a small studio in Los Angeles, and he thinks this is his dream job because he can decide what movies get made. But he doesn't realise that there's a lot more to it than just saying, yes, I want to make that film. And actually, he ends up ruining a whole bunch of movies, largely because he's actually a bit out of his depth and a bit incompetent. And it's just... You need to know a little bit, maybe. If you know about filmmaking, it's really, really fun. There's a lot of in-jokes. There's a lot of kind of cameo roles. But it was just so funny. It was proper old-fashioned kind of slapstick farce at times.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Just so funny. Laugh out loud funny. So I'm so glad that won, because it was brilliant. And a second series coming, I hope.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it has to, doesn't it? But it was interesting to see Seth Rogen there. I did think, well, perhaps he knows something.
Yeah, it's unlike... Cause
when you get the big stars there.
When they
like
go,
that.
They tend to know that they're going to win,
Yeah. We also had some entertainment shows. Last One Laughing.
Last One Laughing, yeah, that won 2 awards. So that one...
I'm so pleased that
entertainment show and entertainment performance for Bob Mortimer, who, of course, was the... oh no, I wouldn't say that if you haven't seen the first series. It was one of the main players, shall we say? One of the main players.
He was just Bob Mortimer.
He's so dry. His humour is so dry. So funny.
But it's his songs that he makes up, these stupid songs, and they're just it's so infantile. Like him and Vic Reeves, their comedy, which is what we grew up with.
He was the driving force behind that.
But a lot of it was so stupid. I remember howling with laughter at one of the Vic and Bob when they were, for some reason, nailing bacon to the wall, and I can't remember why they were doing it or why
it was funny. They don't need a reason why. No, that was the whole point about Vic and Bob. It was just funny. It just made no sense.
It just made no sense. So I'm really pleased to see Last One Laughing do really well as well. And no surprise to me as well was the Celebrity Traitors did well.
Yeah, that won 2 awards as well. So TV Moments, which is an interesting category that they have at the TV BAFTA.
Who chooses that?
I think that might be an audience. I think that might be chosen by the audiences or some magazine or something.
But
and that's an interesting award because it can be reality, it can be drama, it can be be all sorts of things, and it's a very sort of cross category, and there've been some great winners of that category over the years. But yes, so that moment of the revelation of Alan Carr being the traitor at the end of that is.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. There's a new cast as well. They're at the castle now filming.
Yeah.
Very good cast. I'm very excited about that. I don't watch the Traitors anymore. It began as a celebrity version in Holland.
Right.
And then it was, turned into normal people. But I will watch the celebrity one because it is funny to see them all falling. I mean, Paloma Faith lost her mind over being killed. It was like, well, that's the game, love, But I do also think the last one, Laughing Bob Mortimer and Richard Adewade's Speed Date, was absolutely unbelievably hilarious. So there were some really good wins there. The Factual series, Amanda Land won scripted comedy.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that. I'll be honest. I haven't seen that, but I'm hearing
it didn't grab me.
No,
a lot of people I know like it, but it didn't grab me. Alan Partridge won one. Stephen Coogan.
The same thing, aren't they?
Really?
Really? I mean, he's played that character for so long now. He's
in a great show at the
Frasier
moment called Legends. I don't know if you've heard of
I haven't got around to that. It's on my list to watch.
It's good.
Yeah, I've seen clips from that.
He's
a great actor, Steve Coogan.
He really is. I really love him. I mean, and Alan Partridge, of course, is every radio show host we've ever met. Of a certain age.
We all know people that he's based on. Yeah.
And Alan Partridge, or several.
Yeah.
Certainly the older ones. Anyway, they're all like that.
Especially over at Talksport. There's a very very specific one. I won't mention his name, but we used to call him Alan in the office.
But look, it was a good run actually, and Netflix has done incredibly well, and really they should. They're putting some
Apple
money.
TV for the studio as well. So they're
I'm a big fan of both.
Shaking up the establishment there.
Yeah, and they will, because they've got the money. Haven't they? They can afford to.
They're the only ones that do have any money.
They are. Johnny Hand, thank you very much indeed. So that's your showbiz for you. Stay where you are, because we're going to be going through the papers. I can tell you what's on the front pages. I bet you could tell me as well. Just hang where you are.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello and a very good evening to you. This is Talk and it is Petrie here with you until 1 o'clock, just glancing up at the screens there to see if there's anything breaking. But it seems like it's just we are where we are with Keir Starmer. More than 75 MPs, the Times is saying, call on him to go. Streeting, ready to make a move. Well, he has been for a while now, hasn't he? But the PM is told to timetable a departure. So it really does look like his, I was going to say his days are numbered, his minutes are numbered right now. But that's what I want to talk to you about at midnight. I want to ask you about when you voted last week, is this what you wanted? Did you want Keir Starmer gone? Did you want to give Keir Starmer a bloody nose? Did you want to give Labour a bloody nose? What was your thinking behind your voting last week? Because we know that Labour got an absolute trubbing, so did the Tories, to be perfectly honest with you. But what were you wanting when you cast that vote? What was your intention, and has this followed through on that? And the other thing is that should Starmer just go? Do you think he should just go, or do you think that actually the world is in a bit of chaos at the moment and he does do really well on the world stage, that you think perhaps he should stay for a little bit longer? So that's what I'd like to talk to you about at midnight. Let me know what you think of all of this. Are you pleased to see it happening? Do you want to see him resign tomorrow? I think that it's almost inevitable. I think that he will at some stage tomorrow. We're on resignation watch from 6 a.m. apparently. But there will be, there's a cabinet meeting. There's 4 cabinet members in number 10 now talking to Keir Starmer, looking for a timetable. And they need a timetable, right? They need a timetable because they don't want to have really this contest between Wes Streeting and Angela Rayner, and neither of them really fit the bill. What they want is Andy Burnham, but he's not even an MP. So they've got to find him a safe seat. They've got to get him elected into that position. They've got to then have their leadership contest, or even not bother if it's Andy Burnham and just shoehorn him in there straight away as Labour leader. And then Bob Sharunkle, we've got a new PM. He seems to be the favourite. He seems to be the one that the party can unite behind. He's just not in a position to do that job right now. So that's the situation that we're in. But I'd love to hear from you at midnight as to what you make of all of this. And I mean, I've still got PTSD from the Tories changing their mind every 5 minutes. So a leadership contest, oh, please save us from that. Anyway, give me a call, 0344 499 1000. Calls charged at the national rate, but we do call you back. And text the word talk and your message to 87222. Joining with me right now to discuss this and the papers, which coincidentally is the same thing, is Claire Muldoon.
Hi, Petrie. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. I wonder what we'll talk about.
Well, it's entirely up to you. I mean, it's your show. Generally, when I'm called on to do your show, we discuss the front pages. But I think if we just discuss one, then that's them all.
That's all of the front pages done. So let's. I mean, basically, Starmer on the brink, here today, gone tomorrow. This is looking untenable for him now, surely.
It clearly is untenable. I think the visceral hate that people were. When canvassers went round to canvass for the local elections last week in London and the whole of England, and indeed the General Assembly votes in Wales, where Labour were completely and utterly annihilated, didn't even get one Welsh Assembly seat, and then in Scotland as well, that Labour lost, Conservatives lost, SNP lost, Greens increased, Reform increased, etc., etc. You know the picture. The picture across the country is just not the same colour as when Starmer won the general election almost 2 years ago. It's 81 MPs are needed to have a vote of no confidence in a Labour leader, i.e. a Prime Minister. And we're sitting at the moment, as the Times are reporting last print, at 75. 4 cabinet ministers, one of whom, of course, the Home Secretary, Shabina Mahmood. Now, what does that tell you about the mood not only of the cabinet, the front benchers, the back benchers, but also of everyone in the country? And I think, I know this to be fact, when a lot of the local councillors were coming round to try and win votes, people weren't voting in England for local issues.
No.
That was a resounding vote, losing, 1,500 council seats up and down the breadth of England. That was a vote against Starmer, which then begs the next question then, because first past the post is our electoral system, should that be up for reform? Because it was only ever made for 2 parties. Should we actually move now to a bit of proportional representation? Because I think we're based now in such a divisive society. It's us against them, and everyone is othering other people. There is no sense of unity at all. Now, the past 14 years of Conservative governance, when they went through 4 prime ministers, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Liz Truss, I mean, the whole hordes of them, not one could get an angle, but at least everything sort of felt a bit more settled than it is now, notwithstanding Trump and Israel taking us all into this Iran warfare. But there's just too much to unpack. Everyone is feeling the pinch. And that was the number one thing when people were knocking on doors. It was the cost of living. Immigration, I think, came fourth. I don't even know what second and third were. But we need this country to be united. And I think we are, not wanting to use a word that we used so often and was so overused during COVID, that being unprecedented times. And I think that's what we've got. I don't think Keir Starmer, you know my views on this, I do not think he's a leader. He's not been able to lead the country. He's not been able to lead his own party. I don't think he's got a good grip in it. I never thought he ever did have. And his speech today at 10 a.m, when there was rousing in the audience almost, there was claps and jeers and whatever. The man looked utterly defeated. It was yet another reset for the working people, yet another reset for, education, yet another reset for welfare reform, yet another reset. We don't need resets, we need actions. And I personally do not think he's strong enough because of, we've talked about this ad nauseum, Petrie, you and I, on your show, the leadership qualities. You're needed to be an authoritarian, you're needed to, strive to make the best of the people you've got around you. Is dog eat dog in that cabinet at the moment? It really, truly is.
Well, that's where he's failed, hasn't he? He failed to take people with him because of his style of management, if you like, that he wanted people to do as they were told. He didn't take advice from people. He had his boys club, but, nobody else could get near him. A lot of people saying that the bubble that he was in left him completely out of touch with what was actually going on in the world and what was happening, and anybody who tried to stand against him, they had the whip taken off them, didn't they, in the early days?
You would have thought, even in the light of the Mandelson debacle, that must have been a bit of a warning sign to him.
I mean, it feels so long ago now, doesn't it?
And for him not to acknowledge that in some respect, instead of sacking Ollie Robbins, that as we spoke just after that, if he hadn't, then it might all have just not as blown up as it would have done. I mean, where's McSweeney's phone? What phone?
Yeah.
Epstein? Who is he? It's almost as if really important things are still going on, but we're just not. It's like an altered state of reality. It's really, really bizarre. I've never felt this way before.
No, it certainly is
very unsettling.
Very, very unsettling. But I wonder, a lot of people when they voted last week, okay, they weren't voting for councillors, as you said, as I said this as well last week. This feels to me like more than the local, because who really cares who runs their council, right? I mean, they're all pretty much as bad as each other. Potholes and bins, right? That's what. That isn't what people were voting for. But I wonder if it was just about Keir Starmer that he is so unpopular, but the Labour government as well. To me, it feels like they're not taking enough responsibility for those votes as well. They seem to be pinpointing this all on Keir Starmer without really saying we all failed. We've as a cabinet, as a government, as an elected body, we have all failed. Instead, they're saying it's his fault. And I think Labour are going to find themselves in a whole heap of pain if they themselves don't acknowledge their own failures as well.
I think that's part of the Labour Party bubble, which is an absolute. It's almost as if the champagne socialists from the Tony Blair time. It's almost as if the bubbles have gone from the bottle now, and they're all flat.
Yeah,
completely flat.
I mean, that's probably his leadership, isn't it? Draining them of any sense of ownership. But they should own it.
Oh, they have. I mean, Rachel Reeves and her department should own the absolute mess that we're in at the moment. And I had a conversation with two of my daughters not just about an hour ago, and they were saying, "Mum, you need to do more research. Mum, you know, it's really not Keir Starmer's fault." And I was like, "Pardon?" No, they had 14 years of Conservative. Yeah, but look what's happened. You know, yeah, jobs are really bad for us because no. And then they were talking about Iran. I'm like, please just stop. You really need to read a much broader spectrum of your papers. Even The Guardian and The Mirror are coming out to get rid of Keir Starmer. And that are his, in print, his biggest allies.
But Labour isn't ready. Right. I mean, my sense is that the Wes Streeting is too much of on the right of the Labour Party. Many people have already said that. Angela Rayner's not ready for that position for very many reasons. Who else? You know, it's Andy Burnham, and that's who they want.
When you were when you were saying to your listeners what you want your phone in to be at midnight, you were saying about the list goes on and on and on, and you were talking about Wes Streeting and stuff. And I actually thought to myself, well, maybe that's the only NHS list that's actually going down in terms of the list and time it's going to take for someone to make these manoeuvres. But we've seen this before. It's not something that this country has not faced before. That's true. That is democracy.
We often don't know who the leader's going to be when the other one's out. Yeah,
exactly. And it is all a big show, and it can change from 1 minute to the next. Do you remember when Nick Clegg got the bulk of the votes, and he actually went into bed with David Cameron?
Well, not literally.
Which made the coalition.
Yeah,
he was the one that held the power.
Yes, he was.
And no one thought that was going to happen.
No,
and yet it did.
And there's a long time. If there's a timetable for Keir to go, let's say September. That's roughly when they can manoeuvre Burnham into place. You've got summer recess.
Shoehorn
him into a safe seat, etc., etc. So a lot can happen between now and especially on the world stage.
But we also need to remember, Petrie, they had 14 years in opposition. They could have got their ducks in a row.
Yeah, they could have
came in fighting. They had a landslide victory, and they really were on the coattails of something great. But
if they'd only had some policies, right? If they'd only thought about it for 14 years, they could have really kicked off with a brilliant government. But they didn't even think about it.
You and I, we know our witches, but we even said this time last year, it'll be May next year, he'll be out.
He'll be out, yeah.
He'll be out, and it's true.
And actually, from day one, I said he won't last. Because a lot of political commentators were saying, no, I think you go on. I was going, no, he's not going to make it. Just because he's so weak and ineffectual and
robotic in his delivery. There's no pizzazz. There's
nothing.
Absolutely nice, dead behind the eyes.
But that speech today really took the biscuit. This was his fight back.
But Petrie, every single one of your bingo cards was hit. Working people, tick. Education, tick. Family, tick. We've heard it all before.
Sleeves rolled up.
The rhetoric and the narrative, Oh, jacket off, no tie. I'm a man of the people. I love you, trust me. We got it wrong, we'll get it right. We need a plan, we've got a plan. Come on, you don't.
No, you've had your time. It's time to shuffle off. Right, let's take a break and then come back and discuss this all over again with the front pages.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello there, this is Talk, and it is Petrie here with you until 1 o'clock, and with me, the fabulous Claire Muldoon. And let's start off with the papers. The Sun newspaper. Starmer's on the brink. PM told to quit by 3 cabinet ministers and over 70. Like you said, the Times is saying 75 MPs join in Labour mutiny. He's got his cabinet meeting tomorrow, hasn't he? And 4 cabinet members are there right now.
The other 2 appointments that he made on Saturday, I don't think help his case either. That being Harriet Harman and
Gordon Brown,
the wonderful old Prime Minister himself, Gordon Brown.
Well, I think Gordon Brown is look what.
Gordon Brown is a good man.
He's a good man. Me too. I really rate him as a human being. I think he's a good man. He's also got the gravitas. He also knows the system, right? He knows how this works, and that is one of the problems that Keir Starmer has always had. He came to Parliament late. He didn't have the foundations. He didn't have the friends. He didn't have the support network. He didn't have anything, and that's how he was able to shut himself off into a hermetically sealed bubble and keep away from the great unwashed. And nobody was there to advise him. Nobody, because he wouldn't take advice. So maybe Gordon Brown. If I was a new PM, I'd keep him, actually.
He's a stable pair of hands. Yeah. He's been round the blocks, but he's not popular. Right, so do we go for pop? I mean, we know Rachel Reeves isn't popular, Bridget Phillipson isn't popular. Shabina Mahmood, in my view, actually did her job. But there's so many others of them that just don't. They seem to be absolute. Ed Miliband. Apparently, I heard that if Ed Miliband got the job, then there would be a general election triggered. He's so unpopular.
Oh yeah, I just don't think there's. I mean, he was rubbish the first time round, wasn't he? I mean, they're not going to put him back in there, surely.
Well, you just never know.
Oh, that's true these days.
That's the thing. You just, with the roll of the dice, you just never know how it's going to turn up. But I'll tell you, it is. We've said this before. Politics is a cesspit. There's an absolute army of people there that are ready to A2 Brutus. Yeah. And I'm sorry, they've all got their knives all sharpened and they're all out for the PM. Do I feel sorry for him? Not a jot. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. He took on this job. In my view, he didn't have the capacity to lead on a global level, on the global stage, moreover, not even on the domestic stage. There hasn't been one thing that he's done that I've actually thought, oh, that's actually quite a good policy, apart from the restoration of the 2-child benefit gap, because that financially doesn't really make that much difference to the coffers of the welfare bill, which we know is currently running at 5 times the amount of our defence bill. Now, he's left us indefensible. He's left himself indefensible. He's left not only the country, but his party. How much more damage can this man do? All the front pages, Cabinet turns in Starmer, time to go, Cabinet tells Starmer. Tomorrow, he has to. And I don't think anyone is taking any great joy in this, because we did want a leader who can steer the ship through of this country, can steer us through navigate these waters, not only of the Straits of Hormuz, but moreover, the Straits of independence now from Scotland. John Swinney said we're going to go for it. Losing a Labour seat, not one held in Wales now.
I know.
That's almost unheard of.
Absolutely extraordinary, and also there was quite a lot of losses in London, which is also unheard of.
Even Holborn, his own constituency.
I know, and it just looks. I mean, Keir Starmer, I don't know whether it's naivety or arrogance. I can't quite work it out with him, in that he like you said, there's no sort of apology. There's I take full responsibility. Whatever. It's like, do you?
Very good there, actually.
Thank you very much. But yeah, is it arrogance? Is it naivety? Is it being out of touch? What is it?
I think it's arrogance. I think it's purely arrogance, because and bordering on narcissism, because he just doesn't see it. And he hasn't got people around him that tell him, because if he had, he would have moved a lot of the cabinet around, a lot of his front bench. I mean, David Lammy, for goodness sake.
He insists that everyone calls him Deputy PM, apparently.
Oh, my goodness me. Well, not for much longer.
No. He'll
be gone.
Yeah. I mean, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Is we're now looking at a period where nothing is going to get done. And that also upsets me, because it's so frustrating, because we saw that with the Tories, that through all that mucking around that they were doing, and stabbing each other in the back and lining each other up and all of those things, we know that absolutely no work was done. And at the moment, the Labour government is absolutely frozen. There will be.
Do you think Starmer will turn around and use the new workers' rights that Angela Rayner brought in, that you can't get rid of your staff? Actually, everyone in this country, we can't get rid of me because maybe
my
workers'
use
rights.
The new renters' rights bill as well on number 10. That is one thing.
You can't evict me.
Yeah, I think that is one of the good things he did, and the other good thing he did was to keep us out of Iran. As far as he could, but the fact that I can sum up without using a whole hand what I think Starmer's done well is kind of worrying. But I said earlier on in the show that there is no clearer sign that the Prime Minister is going to resign than when he stands up and says, "I'm not going to resign." Right, that is definitely
that, and the second most used one when we know it's going to go tits up, is they have my full confidence.
Oh, yeah, that's when you know somebody else is going to get sacked.
You're going to get fired.
You're off. But it does seem now, I mean, this is something that Boris Johnson said, was once the herd starts moving, there's no stopping it. And the herd is moving, right?
Oh,
Yeah, the herd is moving. And like you said, we only need to cross the boundaries of 81. I don't know whether he'll let it get that far. I think that perhaps...
I don't know. I mean, I hope he doesn't. I think for his own welfare.
To save face, he's got to give a timetable tomorrow morning, surely.
Has to be timetabled. Has to be.
Because he can't go straight away. They're just not. Can you imagine that leadership contest? It should be Shabana Mahmood would be up as well.
But David Lammy would be the PM in the interim if he were to leave tomorrow. He can't leave.
No, he can't leave. But then he's got how long as a lame duck?
I don't know.
And can they absolutely confirm that Andy Burnham will get a safe seat? Is there a safe seat left?
Is there? I don't know.
That's the big question.
The other thing I was reading quite intently over the weekend was the fact that apparently Angela Rayner's staff are constantly on the phone to HMRC asking for the result. We've still not got the result of that investigation.
No,
yet.
I just don't think that she's. I mean, apparently there's been some talk about her going around trying to borrow money as well. It's all a bit bad taste in the mouth. I don't think that the party is gonna support Angela Rayner as leader. I think there's a little bit too much damage.
It will pivot on the unions, as it always does with the Labour Party. It will pivot on who the unions are backing.
Well, they like Rayner.
They do.
They do like,
and she likes Burnham.
Yeah.
So there's that manoeuvre there that might get Burnham in, but he needs the seat.
And then have her back as deputy prime minister.
Yeah.
Well, but he needs a safe seat, and I'm not sure they exist.
Not in the current climate.
No.
Not as the way that not given the way that
it used to happen
last week.
Yeah. I mean, what last week did do was smash the two-party politics system in this country. Completely smashed it, for better or for worse.
So therefore, there must be a role for PR then to move in.
There must be, but we will then see just a series of coalitions.
Yeah, but I think in this time, I think we need a bit of cross-party agreement and cross-party working.
But that doesn't always work there, does it? Coalitions tend to clash, and they tend to not, try to outdo each other. You saw with the Lib Dems and with the Tories, that just didn't work at all. I mean, we were politically frozen. Nothing got done.
Do you not think we're ready for it now, though? Do you not think we, as a populace, actually think that we need to get our top guys round a table to come up with a solution that will suit all?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm not sure that coalition governments provide that. They traditionally, you see it in countries across Europe where there's a lot of coalitions. Nothing gets done. Nothing happens. That's the thing, is it tends to freeze up the parliamentary process. This is why Keir Starmer had such an amazing opportunity with that super majority, which is a very rare thing, to push through some really good policies that they just weren't ready for it, and they didn't have them. That's what a single party supermajority should have done. But with coalitions, you've got this mismatch of voting and backstabbing, and nothing really moves forward, and that is a concern.
Remove the whips so everyone can vote unitarily.
By their conscience. Yeah.
By their conscience.
I think the whip should be gone. I think that's an old-fashioned system that has no place in a democracy. I've thought that for some considerable time. That it's just telling people how to vote is not what democracy is.
Could you ever think of the Houses of Parliament not having any whips, Petrie?
Not in the sense that you're referring to. Absolutely never.
Never, ever.
We've met one or too many of them, I think.
Oh my goodness me, we have.
I could name it. I'm not going to.
Don't
not going to. Quick
they're
break.
Not dead yet.
No, not dead yet. As soon as they are, though. Quick break, Claire. We'll be back in a sec.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
And right now on Talk, you're with Petrie, and with me is Claire Muldoon. And what papers should we pick? I mean, seriously, the Times, Cabinet turns on Starmer, the Mirror, Rebels turn on Starmer. The papers were laid out as well. They were all waiting to see that nothing else happened before they released. Starmer's survival on the line, and they've all got a very, very sad picture of Keir Starmer. That was from the speech this morning.
Yeah, today.
And very good shot there of his expensive glasses. So every single newspaper, Keir today, gone tomorrow. Really, everybody talking about it. Just to move away from that for a second, though, there's a nib which would normally have taken a bigger place on the Times, I think. But ceasefire in peril. President Trump has said that Iran's stupid and garbage response to US peace proposal means the ceasefire between the two countries is now on life support.
On life support. When this all started, Iran, I thought, played a blinder economically because they were imposing economic sanctions on the rest of the world globally. But now that's starting to really harm them as a country. Not only do they not have the capacity to store the excess oil that's not been moved away, that's not been sold, they're currently really under the cosh with that, but also because they're not selling the oil, then their own economy is tanking as well.
But they don't care. They don't care. I've seen so many people from Iran talking and saying we are ready for sacrifice. The difference, what I mean is that they are so happy for their people to sacrifice their lives for this, they're for their survival, and that is the difference. Is that I think that Donald Trump and America has completely misread the theocracy in Iran, and they've been hanging and shooting their own people for very minor things for years, right?
Yeah, so they're still hanging from grain.
Yes, and they don't care how many starve to death in the streets. That's the difference. As long as the IRGC survives, they don't care. And that's what I mean by that. Yes, of course they want money, but a lot of the IRGC are very corrupt. They've got absolute fortunes. They own properties in Knightsbridge. You know, these people have got somewhere to run when that country collapses. They don't care. The leadership don't care about the people.
But they can't store all this oil.
No, I know, and that is a major problem. But I don't think that they are going to capitulate because of the Strait of Hormuz. They hold the cards. I mean,
even Narendra is reported as another nib in another paper that Narendra Modi has asked a lot of Indians if they can to work from home and take public transport, because they're even feeling the pinch of the lack of oil coming through.
Oh, it's a disaster. I mean, India ran out of enough fuel to cremate bodies. You know, I mean, this is getting worse and worse and worse, and there is no solution to it. The idea that Trump can out-blockade the blockade and then, you know, ferry ships through is a non-starter. He saw that already. Yeah. He saw that straight away. So it's interesting to see what will happen next there. But it is a disaster that is still ongoing. It's not going to get any better for any of us. And in fact, if we turn to the FT, there's a story on the front of the FT. Probably can't find it now. It's the only pink paper. Where can't I find it? Talking about how we're running out of fuel. Jet fuel and petrol
are critically low.
Critically low. That's it. Jet fuel and petrol near critically low reserves, warns the Saudi Aramco chief. So we're in trouble.
Not that long ago, we heard that the UAE want to come out of OPEC.
That's interesting.
It's just hugely.
I wonder what currency they're going to deal their oil in, and also, of course, they can destabilise the whole of the oil markets by overproducing, or that has all been very easily controlled with OPEC for a very long time. Once that control is gone, what does that actually mean for the marketplace?
Also in the FT, Trump to press Xi on Iran. President Donald Trump will urge President Xi Jinping to curb China's support for Iran when the leaders meet in Beijing this week.
That'll be interesting because
that'll be very interesting
because Xi has been funding, has been sending parts and rockets and stuff to Iran. And Russia, we know, has been giving intelligence to Iran. So they've got those two supporting them. I can't see that meeting going particularly well.
Well, do you remember Biden sent out Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan?
Yes.
Right? That was about 4 years ago. Yep. This has been building up for years. They knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And who's the collateral damage? All of us.
All of us, yeah. And you know, I mean, and also the Americans. I mean, they're really suffering at the moment, despite, you know, what Trump will say. You've got that petrol, you know, the gas pump price is hugely significant and psychological to Americans. They're also seeing the World Cup looks like it's going to be a disaster because tourists aren't going there. You know, they're losing billions in tourism. Hotels are not filling up. All of these things, the economy in America is really struggling.
But I do think the World Cup. There's no question that it will not go ahead. It will go ahead.
But they're not selling the tickets.
Sold out. Well, they're really difficult to get.
No, the pricing of them, and there's even corporate boxes in almost every single place that have not sold.
Scotland, Brazil, and Miami aren't.
They're just not. We're reading a report only this morning about what's going on there, and hotels are having to release hotel rooms that they were holding back for the World Cup because they're just not getting the bookings, and a lot of that is to do with Trump insisting on 5 years of social media and you know, all of this kind of thing.
For the visas?
For visas,
that's what Russia do already. Lots of countries do that, do they not, to get a visa? You just the way around it is to say you don't have any.
Yeah, I don't think I'd get into America right now. I wouldn't be trying to either. I don't want to. I don't want to go there. But anyway, the FT as well, talking about Keir Starmer's speech this morning. But that other story, jet fuel and petrol near critically low reserves. We've got also The Guardian, Starmer's survival on the line as cabinet ministers urge him to quit.
But also, The Guardian also has above the mast, Rivals season 2, exquisitely knowing escapism. Did you watch Rivals?
I watched the first one. When does the second one happen?
I think it's in the next couple of weeks. It's coming out. I cannot wait. Petrie, you should come over and we'll watch it.
I do like it. Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
It's just a bit of tat, isn't it? But it's brilliant.
Oh, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, I loved it.
You just don't even want to look at your phone. You're just taken away by it. It's such great storytelling, and you know all the characters because we read them when we were 16. It was our illicit.
It was a naughty book.
Turning.
But then you've got poor old Jilly Cooper, of course, who died, and not seeing the second Rivals coming out. But it is much anticipated, and we do need
Campbell Black.
We need something to cheer us up at the moment.
Aidan Turner was fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was so well cast.
I thought it was really good. So David Tennant.
Danny Dyer.
David Tennant was great as well.
That evil newspaper media baron.
Yeah, that we've all met. So
back to the whips.
Back to the whips again. Starmer eyes British steel. We've got the King's speech. That's going to be awkward, isn't it? I mean, let's just talk about that for a second. Is the King's speech is on Wednesday. Ooh. I mean, my Prime Minister wants me to say, because he's speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister.
Right, so he will stand up and say, this is on behalf of my Prime Minister. By Wednesday, he may not know who that is, and that will be an embarrassment to the King. So I wonder if they'll...
No, it won't happen. I think he'll use the King's speech as his resignation speech as well. I think he will, because there's no way everything will be done in one day.
No.
The Labour Party, my goodness me, they couldn't even get through. They couldn't run a bath, as we've said.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think part of it will be, it's my decision for the needs of both party and country, for me to step aside. It's evidenced by the by the way that you voted last week, that there is just not an appetite for me to lead this country, and I can't give you what you want.
Are you
That's
right?
it. That's the speech.
That's
yeah, I've
well
just written
done.
it.
Just written it for him.
But
Send it
I've
off
just,
to him.
wait a minute.
What's
Where's my
happened?
fag? Where's my fag packet? It's the same way the Scottish nationalists have written their economic policy to the back of a fag packet. That same pack of fags.
God,
Only
it gets
we can't
well
afford
used,
them
doesn't
anymore
it?
because they're £17 a packet now.
Yeah, no, God, are they really? Blimey. So, yeah, I mean, but that King's speech, the timing of that is a bit, like, oh, it's orcs. That's orcs.
Well, it's just Starmer's luck, isn't it? It's just everything just seems to. I mean, how many single magpies, do you think that man sees every single day?
Well, he doesn't salute them, does he? That's what's going on.
Count to 10 backwards.
Or count to 10 backwards.
Yeah.
Well,
we know he can't count.
No. Well, certainly his Chancellor can't. The Daily Telegraph going on. Let's have a look at again, time to go. Cabinet tells Keir. 4-year-olds treated in obesity crisis.
Oh, I know.
This is horrendous,
this is just
isn't it?
Horrific.
It's not their fault,
really
right?
It is. Of course it's not. And, no amount of breakfast clubs or no amount of deliveries to schools or anything like that, because that doesn't affect a 4-year-old, for heaven's sake.
No.
This is clearly what children are eating in their homes.
But I mean,
this is straight at the feet of the parents.
Petrie. Yeah, it is. But it's also straight at the feet of poverty, isn't it? Because some of the foods that can be bought from that are, stack them high, sell them cheap. They're full of all sorts of ingredients
additives,
that we
sugars,
know. We know from looking at America's health in terms of weight. I mean, we're not great either, but that there's a lot of additives and a lot of stuff in food that A, makes it addictive, B, makes it bad for your health. And so if there's poverty and it is linked to poor food, something's got to be done about the food industry as well. It's not enough just to say to parents, oh, you should be cooking, and you should, because some of them can't, some of them don't have ovens. Well,
this is the point. The houses that they're in, the housing is so bad that they don't have the facility to cook anything.
Yeah.
So therefore it'll be
all microwave.
a ping dinner. Ping dinners are referred to. And some people just don't even have the capacity to cook or the want or to see how nutrition can change moods, how nutrition can change behaviour.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was surprised that there's a 100,000 increase in ADHD diagnosis as well, because it's behaviourally linked. Behaviour is linked to sleep, it's linked to discipline, it's linked to food and nutrition, and that's all gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And it's all very well just turning on the parents, but there is an awful lot as well that's wrong with the world that makes that a genuine crisis. The story next to it is interesting as well. The Irish are to air Father Ted, which I fully support. A brilliant series, instead of Eurovision.
Now, this is really interesting because I think Ireland have won the Eurovision perhaps most than any other country. And we know that the Israeli embassy was shut down in Ireland. Remember, 2 years ago? So a very bold move.
Big move not to show it.
Big move.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely comfortable with that.
It starts tomorrow, doesn't it?
I think the semi-finals are tomorrow,
right.
Yeah. So therefore, is the countdown then to this weekend?
Must be.
Wow. And we've lost Scott Mills as well, who used to do it. So Eurovision is going to be changed quite a bit.
Yeah, and the Israel being participants in it, there is concern
and Iran.
about, yeah, and there's concern about security, isn't there, around Eurovision? And they're saying that this Eurovision will change all Eurovisions in the future, and it's all just a silly singing contest, right? But it actually has become so politicized now. I mean, it always has been, hasn't it, really? Yeah, that we don't stand a chance ever. So there's literally no point. But I think I'd rather watch Father Ted, to be perfectly honest with you.
I love Father Ted. I loved that series. Mrs. Doyle. Oh, go on.
Go on.
Go on, Father. Go on.
You will,
Father
you will,
Jack,
you will.
drink.
You will. You will, you will. Yeah, I loved every single moment of it. Right, quick break. We're back in a sec.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello there, and a good evening to you. This is Talk, and it's Petrie, and with me the fabulous Claire Muldoon. The Daily Star have got a great headline, Claire. It's the same story, but I just think they've done it really well. By order of the traitors, you have been murdered.
But look who the traitors are.
Yeah, I know.
West Street and Angela Arena.
You will be removed from number 10. It's a great headline, of course, typical Star fashion. The knives were out. Some would say rightly so, and we'll wait and see where they land tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, isn't it?
It was Harold Wilson that said a week's a long day in, a week's a long time in politics.
Yeah.
Well, hello.
Hello. 5 minutes is pretty excruciating at the moment. Did you watch the BAFTAs?
I did.
So we saw the Celebrity Traitors was a winner.
And it was brilliant. I just love Alan Carr, and he was brilliant in The Traitors.
He really was.
And when he walked up to get that award for that moment, which won the TV moment of the year, and it was him saying to Nick Mohammed and David, the historian, that I am, and I always have been, a traitor. And Nick Mohammed was like, oh my God, they fell about the place.
He really played it brilliantly.
Brilliant. Yeah. And then he even said, when he accepted the award last night, Petrie, he even said, and when Claudia asked me to say I'm a faithful, I just went, ah!
He is great. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favourites. I don't know if you saw it. He was also in Laugh Out, Last One Laughing.
Oh, Last One Laughing.
Which also won, which I'm really pleased about, because that's quite a new programme, right, for us anyway.
And that Australian boy, what's his name?
I don't know. I've never seen him before, and I don't think I ever want to go to one of his comedy shows.
Oh my God, he was so funny in that.
I found him a bit creepy, actually.
No, did you not see when Richard Madeley came in to interview them and they were sitting on the sofa, and Richard Madeley said, "Now, you know, AI, isn't it making your job a bit difficult? And because it's treating some people like dummies?" Quick as a flash, he turned around and said to him, "Well, I don't think you're a dummy. I think you're quite a nice man."
So that one as well. We had some really good winners. Actually, I thought that it was on the money, wasn't it? Adolescence, which feels, I was saying to John earlier, it feels really old now.
Yeah,
but it's only a year ago that it hit the screen.
Stephen Graham to get leading actor was lovely. He was great.
Well deserved.
He's such a super actor. But some of the people who were giving out the awards, though, it was excruciating. The two from Amandaland, Anne and Amanda. Oh my God, it just wasn't funny. It was just like cringe.
Oh, I can't bear. Don't try and be funny. That's just not. You're scripted.
Just don't. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not.
There's a load of them scripted.
I tried to watch Amandaland. I couldn't get into it. But everybody says it's
great.
First
season was good. The first season I enjoyed. But I haven't enjoyed this second. So I'm just a bit nah.
No, I don't do second seasons. I tend not to do second seasons because I think I've seen it now.
Do you know what I thought was fantastic that I watched? Secret Service on ITV. It's a Tom Bradby book.
Yes, I've seen it. Brilliant.
Oh, isn't it brilliant?
And also you've got to watch Legends.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. You were talking to Johnny Hearn about that before I came on. That's the second person that's... Is Steve Coogan in that?
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
I'll need to give that a go. Is it edge of your seat stuff?
It's really quite dark, funny, a bit slow horses. If you watch that on,
But
it's a bit slow horses. That's the closest comparable thing I can put it to. It's
when
brilliant.
was it released? Do you know?
It's new. It was really new. I think it was only released a couple of days ago, but it really is good. It's going to win. It's going to win awards, and the writing is excellent, and it's quite scary as well. It's kind of like you're on the edge of your seat a bit.
So you are then, yeah?
Yeah, you are a bit. I won't ruin it, but yeah, it's a lot of
that's exciting.
moments where you just go, oh, God, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. But it's brilliant. I'm only a couple of eps in, so I haven't finished it yet because I actually had to take a break from it. I literally, I had to go. Okay. Let's just ease off the pedal a bit because it is a bit
amazing.
It's good, very good, very well written, and again another British drama that we do them so well.
We do them so well,
and with the money now from companies like Netflix and Amazon, actually, they're choosing a lot of these really good stories and really gritty British dramas.
About gritty, believe me. Fantastic. About the John Moore boys, Taxi Driver. And
I haven't seen that.
It dropped last night. It's phenomenal.
I love a serial killing.
So well done.
Documentary. Is it a documentary?
Yeah. Well, no, drama.
Okay.
Drama.
92%
92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Legends.
Have you watched the Melania one yet?
No, it was so awful. It was just so bad. Even for research purposes, I just couldn't watch it any more than for 5 or 10 or so minutes. It was that bad.
Honestly.
And then I don't know why she chose that guy, who there was lots of to direct it, who there was lots of scandal about and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tom Burke's in this Legends as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Cormoran Strike.
Yeah. Yes. I love him.
Oh, I love him too.
Yeah, he's a bit sexy, isn't he? He's in it, and he's honestly, those are the on the edge of your seat moments with him. It's just really brilliant stuff. Another great performer who's on the front of the Metro actually is Jodie Comer.
She's phenomenal.
She is phenomenal. I love her as well. But she's on the front of the papers talking about her guilty pleasures. Her guilty pleasure is gardening in her undies. What's your guilty pleasure?
I'm not telling you. To be fair, I don't actually have one.
Watching
no rich
Rivals?
involved. No, it's not a guilty pleasure. That's just a complete and utter unadulterated pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
I don't have one. I really don't. I'm a very simple person.
Yeah,
Too much of a Catholic to be having.
Oh, that you can't have guilt. No.
No.
Oh no.
No.
My guilty pleasure has got to be a crunchy from the fridge. There you go.
You need to up your ante. That's not a guilty pleasure. Okay, your guilty pleasure is possibly opening a second bottle of wine in the one night.
On your own.
And changing the straw.
Oh, I'm glad you changed the straw, because that wouldn't be very hygienic otherwise, would it? Unbelievable. No, my guilty pleasure is chocolate from the fridge. It's got to be from the fridge. A Mars bar, whatever it is, it's got to be from the fridge.
A crunchy from the fridge, is that not bad for your teeth?
I don't care.
Oh, come on, you do.
No. Delicious, absolutely delicious. So that's her guilty pleasure, is gardening in her undies. I think my...
Where did they get these stories from? I mean, did the Metro call her up and say, "Hi, Jodie, we've not seen you in anything recently. Kind of Killing Eve's finished. You've done all your other dramas.
What's your guilty pleasure?"
What is your guilty pleasure?
Yeah, well, I thought Killing Eve was absolutely astonishing as well. I loved that.
Yeah, you see, I didn't like the third or fourth season of that. That got really stupid.
Well, they do, don't they? But Jodie Comer is absolutely genius. But I still wouldn't want to see her gardening in her undies. And I'm absolutely certain that my neighbours would not.
Tell you who would love it: the squirrels.
Do you know what? I was lying in bed last night, Claire, and I was thinking I must buy some more lights.
I must change my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I must buy some more lights. We know what's going to happen with them. What am I doing this to myself for? I will hang new lights up and the squirrels will kill them. And yet I was sitting there thinking I must get on and order some more lights.
I think you're making this up. Unless we get you some nice turreted ones, some nice turreted.
Anything they can climb up. I had them wrapped around a tree. They look beautiful. They chopped them all.
But if you get solar panelled ones that you can actually put into your ground. Because we know we can't have the
I can't have the festoon lights. No. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to put electric shock on them, I think. Claire Muldoon, thank you. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed for joining me to go through the papers. Like I said, the front pages were all exactly the same. There is going to be no change tomorrow, all day. Everybody is going to be talking about Keir Starmer, and in fact, that's what we're going to do in the next hour. I'd like to hear from you. Is this what you voted for last week?
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, good morning to you. It is Petrie here with you for the next hour, and we have to talk about the Prime Minister because we may have a different one very, very soon. All of the front pages of the newspapers, in one degree or another, covering the fact that the PM is on the edge, that actually by tomorrow there will be a resignation of sorts. Now, whether that will be an immediate resignation or whether that will be a timetable, it seems that a lot of the cabinet are now talking to him. 4 members of the cabinet are there at the moment. Well, they were there at number 10. I don't know if they're still there. We haven't heard about them leaving. But they want a timetable for him to leave. And that is code, I think, for them not being ready. That they really don't want to see a leadership contest. They don't want to see... I mean, it's a disaster for us because nothing is going to get done now until... that they've sorted themselves out. We saw that with the Tories, the sort of the inactivity, the backstabbing, the Westminster tummy rubbing that went on for so long, and the country, us, you and me, suffered because of it. And here we are again with yet another shake-up in government. And it is the timetable is so that they can shoehorn Andy Burnham in. The timetable that they want is an elongated exit by Keir Starmer in order to for them to get Andy Burnham lined up. Well, Andy Burnham, obviously, he's not even an MP. He's not even in the running. He cannot be in the running because he's not an MP. So they have to give him a safe seat if they exist. I mean, if there's a Labour person that steps down for Andy Burnham and then there's a by-election, can they be sure that Labour would win that? Or would it be Green, as we saw in the last Manchester by-election? That went to the Greens. It didn't go to Labour. That was the one that everybody thought Andy Burnham should have. Well, so they've got to rely on a safe seat, if that exists. They've got to rely on a by-election. They've got to rely on Andy Burnham being elected. They've got to rely then on the party wanting Andy Burnham in enough numbers. And all of that seems a bit of a risk. But still, Keir Starmer, it looks like he's going to have to go. But is that what you wanted when you voted last week? Because I think the Labour government are keen to blame all of this on Starmer. And look, he does take blame, right? He was the leader, he was the PM, and he didn't manage to achieve what he promised he would achieve, right? So in that regard, this is why I like the system we've got. We can get rid of people. But this is Labour as well. And I haven't heard anybody else say we collectively got this wrong. As a government, we have to take responsibility for this. Not just if we get rid of Keir Starmer, we're back on a winning streak. Because it really does depend on who they replace Keir Starmer with, doesn't it? And what they do. And then we've got all the cabinet reshuffles. Then we're going to have I mean, it's just the whole thing is exhausting whilst there is a cost of living crisis. Fuel is now running out. Apparently, according to the FT, they're saying that they're critically low. There's a war going on. The Strait of Hormuz is still shut. The world's economy is collapsing around our ears. This is just the worst of all worlds. And who is going to suffer? Us. You and me. So when you voted last week, is this what you voted for? Is this what you wanted? Did you want Keir Starmer gone? Or did you want to give the Labour government a bloody nose, a warning shot across the bow? Did you think... Are you now sitting there going, good, this is exactly what I voted for, this is what I wanted? Because all I can see is chaos if he stays and chaos if he goes. Because at the moment we are held to ransom by what's going on in the Middle East. Nothing is going to improve. So where do we stand? What do we make of all of this? Because the one thing that is sure is the government is frozen now. They're going to limp on, aren't they? They're going to, I don't know what they're going to do. But one way or the other, we are not being served. We are not being governed properly. Well, some would argue we haven't been for some considerable time. Give me a call. 0344 499 1000. Calls charged at the national rate, but we do call you back. And text the word talk and your message to 87222. And let me know, is this what you wanted? Because it always intrigues me when people vote, what they vote for, what they think they're going to get by casting the vote that they've cast. So let me know. Fascinated to hear from you. David is in Belfast. No stranger to a government that doesn't do anything, are you, David?
Oh, no.
Not that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that you're not a stranger to it over there.
No, we're not. Petra, I am amazed. Well, Keir Starmer is a deluded narcissist, right? And because he's a solicitor, I call him a bottom-feeding guppy.
Really?
Yeah, because all solicitors are bottom-feeding guppies.
Well, I don't know many, and the ones I've come across, I tend to agree with you. But yeah, I think that his arrogance and his ego was born.
It's not like America. They're not ambulance chasers, right? But they're bottom-feeding guppies. They'll leech on to anything you can, and I think Starmer has put his solicitor head on, or his QC, or whatever he is. He's put that head on and thinks he can rock and roll.
Yeah, I think he does. He does rule like a barrister. I think he was a barrister, as opposed to solicitor. But he definitely that lone figure, if you like, for defence or prosecution, and he's cut that figure in Parliament, hasn't he? He's alone. He likes the sound of his own voice. That's barristers for you.
Well, his smile's upside down, so it is. But that's only going by his face. But listen, he's the emperor with no clothes. So I'll lead. And I tell you what, if West Streeting gets in, I don't know what way it'll go, but I would say the recess of July, or whenever the recess of Parliament is, whoever's in, they'll be talking about a new election when they come back from their recess, because it's horrible, it's terrible, it's not right. These people are not right. And Starmer, all he did all his days was say something and then throw something out the next day. It was like, I'm going to cut 300 quid off people's taxes, right? And then he'll throw something out the next day, I'm going to cut all the money for the armed forces, to get people away from thinking about a 300 quid cut. He's just a typical barrister or solicitor or whatever. He's not right. The guy's not right in the head.
But do you think that the voting last week was just about Keir Starmer, or was it more? Was it more to do with the Labour government? I mean, because everybody's feeling this at the moment.
The working class man has nothing in common with Starmer. You know, I'm a painter and decorator, and I have nothing in common with that man.
No.
You know, not one thing.
And who do you like to replace him? Because I don't think...
There's nobody. There's nobody.
That's the problem they've got, isn't it?
No, there's nobody. And I tell you what, you got Sunderland, Durham, Newcastle. They were real Labour seats, coal miners, and they're not even backing them, you know. So, you know, it's madness.
But is that because he doesn't have anything in common with working people and doesn't understand? Because he's had quite a rarefied career, right? And you know, he's not really done hard work a day in his life. I mean, you know what I mean? Not the kind of work that you do.
Well, as I told you before, solicitors, barristers are bottom feeding guppies. They jump on something and try to make it a big deal. He never made in government. He never made the big deal. You know, he's beat. He's beat. You know, he has to go. And who replaces him, God knows. I really tell you something. I can't think of anyone else that could replace that man in the Labour government.
Not even Andy Burnham. Well, he's not in the government, is he? That's the problem. But do you think Andy Burnham?
Well, Andy Burnham is, you know, how long will it take him to get into government?
Well, this is the thing, and there are risks involved with that. That, like I was saying, is there such thing as a safe seat anymore? You know, can they shoehorn him into a seat that he would win? All of those things. It's a bit of these days. It's a bit of a risk.
Well, he get hammered by reform in his own constituency, right? He'll get hammered there. I can't see anyone in a Labour government that's fit to rule the country.
What about Ed Miliband?
Oh,
I'm joking, by the way. I'm teasing you.
He'd be blown away in the wind, you know. So no. We need hard fighters in this country, and I hate to say it, and I don't want to say it, but there's so many good people out there, and you know, I'm really drawn to Farage. You know, I'm really drawn to him because he tells it like it is. You know,
but you've also not got anything in common with him in terms of his background: posh public school boy, stockbroker, millionaire. You know, there's I don't have anything in common with that. I went to a comprehensive.
I don't really have anything in common with it, but he sort of tells it as it is. Well, and who have you got outside, Nigel? You know? I
mean, I'm just so depressed by the entire political classes, to be perfectly honest. I mean, Zach Polensky seems to have a very subtle relationship with the truth. So that is a no-go, isn't it? That's absolutely a no-winner. The Tories are not fit to be put back in government. I fear reform because of what they want to do to the NHS, and I fear, you know,
big not. She's very articulate, you know. I think she'd actually go well with Farage, you know.
I think there'll have to be there will be coalitions. I mean, this is the thing, when you strip away a two-party state, which is what happened last week, there will be coalition governments. And again, with coalition governments, when you see them across Europe, they don't achieve anything because they're always too busy fighting with themselves. So we're going to see a lot of inactivity in terms of governance.
And Starmer pulled the 55% Brexit vote, and he's trying to get back into Europe, is not right, you know. But what did you call him? David something. Cameron. He thought he was Charlie Bighead, and he thought that was all going to go his way, and it didn't, and he resigned. You know. Yeah,
well, he screwed us over with that. I mean, completely. There was no need for. Everybody was perfectly, ignorant of what was going on. They didn't care one way or the other. That was another chance to give a bloody nose to the government in power, which is what happened last week.
And the other thing was they got rid of Boris. Boris was doing all right, and then they brought 3 idiots or 2 idiots in behind him. You know, and
well, that's what we don't want to see here, right? What we cannot have again is
that's what's going to happen. It's going to be 2 or 3 more. Ugh. I would say by July, the Labour Party would have to call an election.
A general election.
A general.
They're never going to do it. They're never going to do it, David.
They're not going to do it. They're going to hang on.
They're going to cling on because their jobs. It's about looking after themselves.
Hanging off a cliff. They're going to be, breaking nails to hold on that cliff. And it's terrible for the country.
Yeah, I agree. It's terrible for the country, but there's just no chance with the majority they've got that they're going to call an election. It's just not going to happen, and it's incredible because they're all self-serving, and that's the truth of it, David. I mean, we've got a bunch of politicians who care more about themselves than they do about the country, I think. David, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for calling in. I've got to take a break, otherwise I'll get in trouble.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, good morning. This is Talk, and it is Petrie here with you until 1 o'clock. And we are talking about Keir Starmer. Look, there's been a lot said about Andy Burnham, that he could be or should be our next Prime Minister. So, if you are in Manchester, where he is your mayor, then give me a call and tell me if he could be Prime Minister. You know him as your mayor. So give me a call from Manchester if you think he could be Prime Minister, or is he not as good as we all think he is? Because he is your mayor. So anybody in Manchester listening to this, give me a call. Let me know what you think about Andy Burnham, and let me know if you think he could be Prime Minister. 0344 499 1000. Back to the calls now, and Tristan is in Bedford. Hello, Tristan. Good morning.
Morning, Petrie. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Question.
How are you?
Well, I'm not too well at the moment.
Oh,
so,
no, I'm sorry. I was thinking about you today, actually.
Oh, okay, go on.
I was, no, because of my gay icon mug. So I did have a little think about you today. I thought, oh, I wonder how Tristan is. Just so you know, I do think about you when I'm not in the studio.
That's very sweet of you.
So why are you not well? Tell me.
It's to do with my Crohn's. I've had a monster flare up.
Flare up. Oh, you poor thing.
And it is, it's not been great. And the problem is, I was on really strong painkillers, but the painkillers are making me bleed.
Oh.
So I've been told no more painkillers, Tristan. So I'm just in constant pain at the moment.
Oh, bless your heart. That is miserable. I'm so sorry about that. Can they not give you any other type of painkillers?
No pain. You can't have any SIDs at all. The inflammation and the swelling in my small bowel and large intestine is too inflamed, and it's swollen from the flare up. So it's causing immense pain on my stomach. And
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah,
having Crohn's, unfortunately.
Well, your Crohn's will improve, but I don't think Keir Starmer's lot will. No,
well, as I was saying to your research, I haven't got anything positive to say. The first thing I'm going to say, the friend of mine who lives in Great Manchester isn't really overwhelmed with Burnham. So I've heard that.
I've heard that there's quite a few people actually coming out and saying, look, he's not the Messiah, right? He's not going to fix everything.
And my friend also said that if they did do a by-election in Manchester and it was in his constituency, he would purposely not vote for Burnham.
Ooh. See, that's the thing. It's this whole idea of giving him a safe seat. I don't know whether they exist.
No, to give Labour more of a bloody nose. And the other thing is that before Labour got in, the Tories were dealing with the cost of living crisis, the energy issue, and immigration. And now all of that has been passed on to Labour. But what Labour have done is they've escalated the issue, along with fast forwarding of net zero, along with the tax rises, and along with the policies they've brought up. And on top of that, what Keir Starmer has done is he's said things that he's going to do, but he's not done them. And then when he's come and spoke in future press conferences or future talks to the media or to his own party, the things that he said previously, he's then said something different. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute, you said this about this and now you're changing your mind. So to me, it seems like, well, I'm not allowed, he lies upon lies. That's how I see it. He's so, educational, I suppose, with the truth. And it just makes him have less and less and less credibility. And the thing is, when he did get in power, obviously he done the winter fuel allowance issue, where he stopped that.
Straight away,
And then, of course, he had the inheritance tax of the farmers. So it's been constant issues all the way through.
Yeah, and it's good to remind ourselves of that, because actually it moves on so quickly now, doesn't it? Yeah. That we forget about these things that have happened. But he's just comes off weak, just wetter. Like I said, wetter than a Haddock's bathing suit. He just. And
he's so ideological, and the thing is, yes, I do want Keir Starmer to go, but the main person I want to go, I want Herma to go with him. I want Herma out. I think that man is a worry, to be honest with you. I think he is a worry with the things that he has done and the things that he can do. So get the Attorney General out and get Starmer to out. But I really don't know what they're going to do. I think they're really caught in a bit of a bit of a mess, to be honest with you.
I think they are. I think they've literally been caught with their pants down because, but everybody knew this was going to be a bloodbath, right? Everybody was calling it. It wasn't quite as big a bloodbath as everybody was expecting. They were expecting 2,000 positions to go.
Not in 2 years. Yeah. Not in 2 years.
Yeah. Look, a lot of people were expecting more of a bloodbath for Labour, but it was brutal. It was awful. But I think this isn't just about Keir Starmer. I think this was a vote against Labour, and I have yet really to hear anybody else say anything but Starmer's got to go. They've got to acknowledge that as a government they failed, not just Keir Starmer.
Yeah, but the thing is they've alienated so much of the country.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. If you alienate so much of the country, where is your base? The base they had was obviously the Muslim bloc vote, but now obviously they are in a weird sort of coalition with the Greens, with the Islamists and then the Greens, which I don't know how that works. And obviously Zach's now come out as being a bit of a fantasist and economical with the truth.
Yeah, he has a flirting relationship with the truth, doesn't he? Rather than
it seems like it's an absolute total mess. And you said about obviously we are running out of energy. I mean, are they going to have to? Are they going to bend? And are they actually going to do something about that, or are they going to carry on with their ideological plan? It seems.
I mean,
and that's a scary thing.
It is scary, and there's no sign of an end to the blockades in the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, it's just got markedly worse. Today, as the latest proposals from Iran are deemed totally unacceptable to the US. So there's no sign of that ending. As I was saying earlier to Claire, the Iranian regime doesn't give a jot about the people starving to death or dying on the streets. They literally don't care. They've all got an escape plan. They're all corrupt. They've got properties in Knightsbridge and all around London. This is the IRGC I'm talking about. They don't care. And as soon as that country collapses, they'll all be on planes and living in foreign countries with loads of money. So, I think that Trump has underestimated them. And while all that's going on, the entire world economy is on the verge, right? We're heading into a depression.
Yeah, it is unstable. And I suppose the saving grace of the situation with energy is we predominantly get most of our energy from imports from Norway.
And a lot of it is renewables. And as much as, I'm not a fan of Miliband, I do believe that the only way we can be self-sufficient is through renewables, because the energy that we've got in the North Sea is depleted rapidly. It has depleted. We're left to the grunge stuff at the bottom now. And even that has to be sold on the international market. So the only way we're going to be energy self-sufficient now is by speeding up renewables and changing the grid.
Yes, well, we do need to. The grid is the thing. Is more renewables we're adding to the grid. We're making the grid more unstable.
Absolutely, we are.
And they're not updating the grid. So
I know. We've put the cart before the horse with renewables. I mean, the whole thing's a shambles.
It is, and the thing is, I work in the energy industry, and the energy policy. My mind just boggles.
I know. It is literally really we've put the cart before the horse. We should have had all of that energy grid update. We need batteries the size of the planet, but we need massive battery storage. But no, we're just churning out renewable energy and dumping it. It's
going nowhere.
Going nowhere. It is. Look, they couldn't run a bath, could they, between them?
No, and the thing is when you say about the energy, you've got the constraint payments where we're paying wind farms month
to shut down.
Yeah, to shut it down. They're producing the energy, but the energy is not being used because the grid can't handle it.
And because we haven't got any battery storage.
And because we haven't got battery storage.
I mean, you literally couldn't make this stuff up. You couldn't make this stuff up. You really couldn't. How inept the whole thing is.
The The thing is, though, is how on earth can they, I know you said they are self-serving, which they are, but the thing is, what is going to get to the limit where what is the limit where eventually they might have to call a general election because they just can't handle what's happening? And obviously you've got the welfare, which now we're paying more in welfare than what we're bringing in income tax. I think it's 333 billion by last count.
Yeah, we've just tipped over the income to welfare ratio.
That's the first time in history.
Yeah, and so we're having to borrow to pay the top up the welfare. It's a mess. The whole thing is a mess.
The thing is, there's nothing that they can lean on that they say they've done.
No.
And the thing is, what they keep bringing out more ridiculous policy that, as I said, it's ideological. There's no common sense. There's no logic. No. There's nothing data driven. It's all ideology.
Well, I mean, the Titanic comes to mind, doesn't it? They're literally moving the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Yes.
That comes to mind.
They're scared to do things. And the thing is, you mentioned about the IRGC, they will not, ban them or prescribe them.
Which they should do.
Which they should do. But they won't do that because they know that will interfere with the Muslim base, which they're fighting with the Greens to try and keep hold of in power.
It's so extraordinary that so much effort is put into that base when it's about 2% of the population, nearly 3% of the population.
3.77 million of the population.
Yeah, but that's a tiny percentage of the population. It's tiny.
The thing is,
but they're motivated to go out and vote as well.
Yeah, yes, they are. But the thing is they seem more bothered about that than they do about the actual British people, which is the majority of the population.
Right, just again putting the cart before the horse. Tristan, I hope you feel better soon. Send my love to you. I wish you weren't in pain. That's horrible. Thank you. I'm going to have to take a break, but when we come back, we'll speak to Robert.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello there, this is Talk, and it's Talkback, and it is Petrie here with you until the top of the hour, and we are talking about Keir Starmer, and really every single newspaper has just been talking about Keir Starmer. I can guarantee that every news outlet and every radio, television, you name it, that's all everyone is going to talk about tomorrow. And we could be talking about the fact that he has resigned this time tomorrow. It looks pretty much like he's got no choice, he's got nowhere to go. The Times are reporting 75 MPs. The Sky right now are talking 72 MPs. BBC saying 71. So we're plus 70. There needs to be 81 people, but I think he'll go before that. And they want a timetable for him to leave. but what next? I can't bear the idea that for the next, God knows how many months, there's going to be leadership challenges and, oh, God, not again. Please. Anyway, that's what's happening at the moment. But was this your vote last week? Was it just about Keir Starmer, or was it about the Labour government as well? And Andy Burnham, is he really the answer? Is he the king to take over? I don't know. Robert's in Hertfordshire. Hello, Robert.
Hi, Petrie. I'm just bracing myself for our usual argument.
Okay, go on then. I'm ready.
Like what you said last week, we always end up friends. But I'll let you into a little secret. I've been speaking to you for a couple of years now, and I put a poster up of you up in my garage. But every time we fell out, I drew something on it. So your picture now is like the picture of Dorian Gray. It's got devil's horns, a Rolf Harris beard, a Hitler moustache. No, not really. I just thought of that.
I wish that was true. I wish that was true. That would make me very happy if I thought you had a poster of me out there throwing darts at it. It would be great.
Okay. It's on to business. Let's just examine how the Labour got in. They got in on the smallest vote. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn got more votes than Starmer did, which is incredible when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they did, because people were sick of the Tories. The Labour didn't win because people wanted Labour.
No,
the Tories lost because they wanted the Tories out. That's the truth of it.
Yeah, it was a protest vote. But then again, most elections are, aren't they, really,
yeah.
when you think about it?
Yeah, we vote the incumbent out. We don't really vote governments in.
I thought today's interview, it scared me. It was like, I thought he was scary.
But the speech that he did?
The reason he's got to go straight away, because the longer he stays, even if he's on notice, it can do us a lot of damage. And I don't like the fact that he's going to overcome, complete disregard for democracy by getting us back in, regardless of what you voted. He's going to overturn democracy. And I didn't like what he said about the forthcoming march on Saturday. He basically labelled every normal person right-wing, racist. That's bad. I don't think changing a leader is going to help, because the leader has still got to have a cabinet behind him. And there's no quality there.
There is no quality. You're absolutely right. There's none. There's none of the big beasts, is there? Do you remember the politics of ye oldie days, where they had proper parliamentarians who had been around the block, who knew they'd usually come up through unions, or they'd worked, do you know what I mean? We just don't have that anymore.
Well, he's done it, and then he's brought back
Gordon Brown.
Oh my God! It's almost as bad as the Mandelson thing. And that's the other thing as well. When you think about Starmer, it was only 2 weeks ago when he was up against the wall with the Mandelson.
Yeah.
It's one thing after another.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many things have happened in under 2 years.
Well, also the number of U-turns, right? The number of things that he's said and then had to go back on, or his cabinet or his backbenchers. I mean, I was saying that the other day, that with the backbenchers, who's really in charge, right? Because he's not a leader, right? He hasn't led because his backbenchers keep saying no to him.
Yeah, I quite like Wes Streeting, but he's weak. I like the cut of his jib. I said that on Jez's show today. I quite like Wes Streeting, but I didn't like the way he didn't stand up to the doctors straight. He's weak, and if he did take over, the left would just eat him alive. To be honest with you,
the left will definitely eat him alive. I don't think they'll vote him because he's too far right in the party. He's too much to the right, but he is to the right of the party, and I think that the Labour will distinguish itself by going further to the left as it goes forward now. So they want a left-leaning person like Burnham or Rayner. I'm not sure that's the right direction, but I think that's the direction they're going to go in.
Yeah, but I think what should happen, it won't. But if Starmer wants his own back, he's going to get outed. just call a general election and get them all sacked. You know, I don't think that a Labour government can go on. We're going to be in big trouble. I mean, what annoyed me, he didn't mention the migrant crisis once.
No.
And what's happened to the grooming gang inquiry? It's just stopped.
I mean,
no one talked about it anymore.
Because the news flow is just so rapid at the moment, and it's designed, isn't it, to distract us and keep us from really nailing down any particular one story and keeping up with it. But I mean, this government has been so bad for this country and has created more division and has given more power to more extreme views than you could ever imagine from a Labour government.
But you examine the man, right? Now, you're talking about a guy who prosecuted our troops, okay? He defended terrorists when he was a lawyer. And I've got a conspiracy theory. I think there's something very sinister with his relationship with him and Macron. I just feel there's a shadowy figure in the background. You know,
really?
I don't know how you feel about that. I think he's got an unusual friendship with Macron, to be honest with you, and I think they're both motivated by something sinister in the background. I used to think it was a Fabian society with Starmer, but I'm not so sure now.
Interesting. I mean, I just think he's inept. I mean, I honestly, I don't think there's any conspiracy other than he is not a leader. He's proven that through his tenure. And he's got no new ideas. And he's completely out of touch with the country that he's supposed to serve. He has no idea who we are. He thinks we're all idiots. That rolling up his sleeves today and wearing a shirt, it was pathetic. It was patronising. That's what it was. It was patronising.
You know what I think in the bowels of Downing Street, there's about 10 Keir Starmer robots, and they get one out for each occasion, right? That's what they do. Because that's why you never see his back, because there's a big kid.
Well, I wonder if there's one that goes around and hoovers number 10 at night.
But it's not. I mean, we're in trouble.
We are in trouble. One way or the other, we're in trouble, because if he goes tomorrow, which I suspect he will, or at least he'll set a timetable, because he'll try and cling on until September, but he will set out a timetable to leave, and nothing will get done. And the Labour Party will do nothing. The government will do nothing. The backbenchers, they'll all be in their little enclaves thinking about who's going to be the next leader. You and I are not going to see anything change. And they are there to serve us, and they won't be doing that.
Well, there's one thing that could happen, what could change it all, where the money people, the monetary funds, step in and go, no more money, that's it. And then they just have to liquidate the government. Yeah, that's the only thing that could really determine where you'd have to have a general election quick. I mean, what's your views on the election, another election?
I don't think it'll happen because Labour will not call it, and none of the Labour government or party will call it either, because they want to stay in power. They've got 3 more years. And they're not going to give that up. They're just not. And I think that's not for the right reasons, but they're not going to call an election.
But I've been on this a bit longer than you, and I've never known a time where everybody in the country is depressed. I mean, I agree. Impact. It's just and I shouldn't be depressed about anything. I mean, I'm solvent, I'm retired, I've got a couple of health problems, and I can't, because I'm addicted to this, talk. All it is bad news. Aren't you fed up with giving bad news?
I'm fed up with this. Why I had to take a week off the other week, because my mental health was collapsing. I'm being honest.
Wow.
Because it's just too much.
Wow.
And you have to absorb this news all the time in order to make sure you're up to date with everything. So I'm constantly looking at news and reading news and listening to news, and it's just my whole life. So yeah, it's awful. It's so bad at the moment, and that's the thing, is there's no joy. There's no joy in the world. There's no hope. I mean, where that we need that, and there just isn't anything.
You know, the other thing that I'm worried about is that I did vote reform after the general election, but that was only to cheer myself up. He's not going to do any good, and I'll tell you for why. Because he's got to battle the blob, you know, and he's got a lot of problems. I think he will win an election, but I don't think he's the Messiah. I think he's just a very naughty boy.
I agree with you on that as well. And I think that if he does get anywhere near number 10, that it will be a coalition government, because we've just smashed the two-party, you know, that was smashed last week, the two-party country that we were, and now it's fractured. So politics along with it will be fractured. So we didn't argue, Robert. What went wrong?
See, I don't think that everybody's going on about the... No, that's right, we didn't. Everybody's going on about the Green Party, but no, he's going to eat himself, and he's started to eat himself.
Oh,
now.
It's already right. You know, no,
Yeah.
I don't think Zach Polanski. I think they're going to have a leadership challenge fairly soon if he doesn't wrestle with his relationship with the truth. But there we go. Robert, good to talk to you. You can go and be nice to that poster of me in your garage now.
No, it's the indelible wink. I can't rub it out or something.
You're a very naughty boy yourself. Thank you very much indeed. Right, quick break. Back in a sec.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello there, good morning. This is Talk, and it is Talkback with me, with Petrie. Going to read some messages now before I go to the calls. Ernie says, I don't think it was just about Keir why Labour lost so many seats, because the Welsh First Minister lost hers too. I think it's about the government's policies. That's what most people don't want. That's my suspicion, Ernie. Zarina says, my area was not eligible for voting. However, Keir Starmer is not performing. He has not communicated what the Labour government are going to do to improve the woeful situation most of us find ourselves in. There's very little to look forward to for our young people, and it's pretty grim for all of us still working. The issue at hand is the lack of vision from all members of the Labour government. Andy Burnham is not the answer. I believe the Conservatives handed Labour a poisoned chalice, and therefore a general election should be called. As much as we might want that, I cannot see it happening. Gary said, I don't think Starmer should go because it's not just about him, but the Labour Party as a whole. My analogy of it is that in reference to the Labour cabinet, it's like a cat litter tray. No matter how much you shake and shuffle it, it's still going to be full of the same thing. That is brilliant, Gary. I love that. Amanda says the local elections were used by the furious public to vent their anger on Starmer and his government. And that's the point. The government haven't accepted that they all got it wrong. That they're all in this. They're all going, oh, it's his fault. Get rid of Starmer and we'll be absolutely fine. Anyway, let's get back to your calls now. And Paul is in Liverpool. Morning, Paul.
Morning, Petrie.
How are you doing?
Hope you're feeling better anyway, girl, because
Yeah.
I know what depression's like. I suffer with that as well.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? No, I'm good. I'm very good at the moment. Thank you so much for asking. So, what do we make of... Are you a Labour voter, by the way?
Yeah, I've been Labour all my life, except when I voted BNP a few years back.
Okay.
But I'd just like to say this goes back further than Starmer. This goes back to 1979 when Thatcher got in. She got a hammering 2 years later in the local elections then, and they all said she was finished. Falklands came along and saved her. The Tories stayed in, then Labour got in. Things got bad under the Tories. Petrie closed everything. You know, they cut back on a lot of power. They started the cutbacks on the army. We were lucky to get the Falklands back.
Yeah.
You know, with what we sent locally. She was about to scrap another carrier, but luckily they didn't. But anyway, you had Labour after that, then you had the Tories again, now you got Labour again. And one after another, after another, after another. As I say, it all started with Thatcher 47 years ago, but each government has gotten worse. He got stick, Starmer, for not following Trump. Tony Blair followed Bush, and look what happened there.
Look what happened, yeah.
First one in Kuwait, that was right. But the Iraq one, for weapons of mass destruction, that was wrong. And Trump just wants everyone to follow him, you know what I mean? I think he's a joke as well.
Yeah, me
he's
too.
more than Starmer. But, like I say, it's not just Starmer's fault. It's the whole party, you know, and all politicians are the same, whether it's Tory, whether it's Labour, whether it's Green, whether it's SNP. They're all out for what they can get for themselves. They don't care about working people. I've been in hospital 5 times the last couple of years. Once last year, I spent 26 hours in the waiting room and a corridor, and in the waiting room, about 90% of them were foreigners, you know, in Liverpool Hospital. And the majority, like I say, were foreigners. And, you know, when you look at the pressure on the NHS, like I say, they're all started under Thatcher, but he's promised things and he hasn't delivered. You know what I mean? And it stops within the book, and in the end, he's the leader. And what he promised, he's got to deliver, and he hasn't. So it's up to this party, as simple as that. You know, we can't get him out, it's the party.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that he will have to resign. But I think that the message last week wasn't just about Keir Starmer. I think the message last week was that this entire government has let us all down. You know, the lack of talking about illegal migration, the crossing the 200,000 people coming across on boats since 2018 last week, that doesn't seem to have been addressed. We've seen, you know, like you said, troubles with the NHS. We've seen problems now where the welfare bill is bigger than the entire tax intake. You know, there's the income tax. It is a disaster. And they don't talk about it.
Since 2018, he's only been in 2 years, so you can't blame him for the most of that.
No.
You know, he's got his fair share to do. You know, they're standing by and they're allowing him in. In the street where I live, there's about 18 houses, and in the last 4 or 5 years, about 9 of them are being taken over by Somalians or other Muslims, whatever, you know what I mean, or other foreigners. And the whole state has actually got about 30% of immigration. There's one house I go past every day. I'm in the kitchen where you can see the window open, and you've got like 12 mattresses piled high. What's that for? Who's in that house? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is it. The whole situation is it's untenable. It's not acceptable. But there's nobody really addressing it, and I'm not sure that a Labour Party leaning more to the left is going to do anything about those concerns. And you're right that the Falklands War did save Margaret Thatcher in the same way, actually, the Russia-Ukraine war saved Boris Johnson for about 6 months. And I think Keir Starmer was hoping that the Iran war would save him. And as much as I believe he did the right thing in not dragging us into that, it's not going to save him.
No, it's not. But do you think he did the right thing there?
I think he did the right thing. I think he did the right thing in not dragging us into another Iraq, which...
Trump should have gone to the UN, shouldn't he? You're supposed to get a mandate, aren't you?
Yeah.
For a war. So that's an illegal war anyway.
It's an illegal war. It is an illegal war. So was Iraq, right? That was deemed an illegal war as well. But he was right not to drag us into that. But even that is not enough to save him. But I'm frustrated that it doesn't appear that anybody else in the Labour government has said, look, it's not just about Keir Starmer. We've all failed, right? That's depressing. They've all failed, and whether it's because of his leadership or not, they've all failed.
They've all failed him and the people.
Yeah, and now, Paul, we're going to be stuck in this quagmire of Westminster backstabbing and tummy rubbing.
That's what they're good at.
Yeah, it is true. How depressing is that? That is what they're good at. Just looking after themselves.
I'm going to take a load of tablets tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join you. Paul, it's really good to... It's good to speak to you, Paul. And as you know, I'm a bit of a sucker for a Liverpool accent. So thanks for calling in. It's lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much. Right, there's 1 minute to go. Right.